This is the One Piece Podcast, episode 420 for the week of Monday, May 23rd, 2016. My name is Zach.
And my name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
We're all on different types of drugs this week. I think Steve is trying what we call coffee, and we're going to see how that works.
Yeah. I got into the wrong crowd after high school.
We have some special guests joining us for this very special episode. We have our editorial writer, Jill, with us. Hey, Jill.
Hello, everyone.
How's it going?
Pretty good, except I have jury duty tomorrow at 8 a.m.
Oh, is that when you read One Piece manga, too?
Probably. That's what's going to happen.
Steve, didn't you get through the entire series last time you had jury duty?
No.
Wow.
Well, I wasn't picked, but I had to sit there for like hours for a couple days, and I read a lot of Water 7.
Wow.
We have a very special guest, translator for One Piece and Weekly Shonen Jump, Stephen Paul, with us.
Hey, Zach. Don't think I didn't hear that little note of mirth in your voice when you said episode 420.
It's a little bit of mirth. There was detectable mirth, I'll say that much.
Mm-hmm.
We also have the dude with us. Hey, dude.
Hey, Zach. How's it going?
It's going good. How's it going with you?
Pretty good. I'm a little sick today, so I'm a little stuffy. But that's not going to impede me from doing a podcast. Ever.
Good. So we have a lot of cool stuff to announce right at the top of this show. First, we have redone our Patreon completely. So a lot of people have been asking us, hey, how could I get all of the old episodes in an easy to, download or stream format? Well, now we could answer that question. All you have to do is become our patron, and for $3 a month, you get access to all of the episodes of the One Piece podcast on SoundCloud, which is a nice and easy place to view everything. So we're really excited about that move. It took a lot of work and a lot of effort to move everything there. So please join us at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast for that. Some other really cool stuff. By the way, seasons 2 through 7 are what's included in that package. Season 1 is for free and available for everyone, and seasons 8 and 9 being our current year, are also available for everyone out there. So you could always check those out. We also are going to have, or already do have, exclusive outtakes, exclusive, just talks amongst us sometimes, which are essentially outtakes, and early episodes of the Manga podcast, Endless Schmaltz, and more. Plus, t-shirts that you get for being a patron, mugs, decals, more. Check that all out. Again, patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. We're really excited about this. Jammer, Aaron, and I have been putting a lot of work into this, and we're happy to announce it. The other big news is we are going to be at MatsuriCon. We mentioned this last week, but for those who didn't hear our fun call-in show last week, I want to say it again. We're going to be at MatsuriCon, and there's some really cool stuff happening there. Steve, since you're going to be there as well, I think Ed, Steve, Alex, myself, maybe Jill also.
Gonna try.
We'll all be there. Steve, do you know some of the guests that will be there?
Just about every Straw Hat.
Good answer. Yeah. So,
well, it's like I could name them all. All of the Straw Hats besides the voice of Robin, Stephanie Young, and the voice of Nami, Lucy Christian, will be in attendance, as well as Mike McFarlane, director, voice of Buggy, John Swayze, and Lydia Mackey will also be there. And that's a lot. That's a lot of One Piece voices.
It's a ton. And the really cool thing is they are going to be doing a table read of one of the episodes of One Piece, and the remaining members that will not be there are going to be there via Skype, I believe. So that's really exciting. That's probably one of the highlights I'm looking forward to, besides, us being there. And they're also going to be doing some Q&A. They're going to just talk about their experiences with One Piece. I am super excited for this. It's in Columbus, Ohio, August 19th through 21st. So check that out. You guys are excited about that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. That's good to hear. We also have a couple cool things on the site besides a lot of film gold news, including Glim Spanky news, which I know is what you're all looking forward to.
Chicky. Glim Spanky.
We also have news, but I'm not even responding to that. We have some news about the movie tie-in special that's going to be airing in July. That's One Piece Heart of Gold.
Oh,
Will there be more Amigo pirates?
It will only be Amigo Pirates. The whole thing is just going to be Amigo Pirates. No, I'm excited about that. On our site are also our Winter 2016 survey results, which Aaron put together, which is a comprehensive everything about the One Piece community. It's really interesting. You should definitely check it out. And finally, I wrote a little, I guess you could call it an editorial about our future policy with news articles. It's called On Leaks, and it refers to leaked news and the like. And that the fact that we are going to avoid reporting on that, and it's kind of because we've been in this morally ambiguous ground. And if you're interested in the reasoning, or if you'd like to discuss, we'd love to hear your feedback, either positive or constructively negative. You could leave us comments on that article. That's all on our website, onepiecepodcast.com. But before we get started, we have a manga recap, an anime recap, pieced together. Why don't we now get started? You guys ready?
Yeah.
Sure.
Let's do it.
This is the manga recap for chapter 826, 0 and 4. Ed, what's going on the front page here?
Well, it's the Decks of the World 500 Million Man Arc, Volume 17, former Muggy Kingdom, and they're tilling the old battleground. As Mihawk reads the news, eats an onigiri, and Perona looks over his shoulder, and Luffy-dressed humandrills are they're working the land, they're farming.
I don't think they're Luffy dressed though. I think they're just wearing farmer straw hats.
Yes. But didn't they all fight Luffy? Don't they respect him?
Which was
They fought
traditional
Zoro.
at the time.
Oh, what the hell am I thinking?
Zoro, you're thinking of when they fought Zoro. Or maybe when Luffy fought the Kung Fu Dugong, because you might be thinking of that too.
Right.
But I love this cover page. It's awesome. Like Mihawk looks like he's a retired old Japanese man.
He essentially, well, I guess
he's really
retired.
not doing much, which is kind of a revelation for him. He's just sort of hanging out.
I like that he tends to his Muggy Kingdom.
He's growing.
Come on, everybody! We got to pull some weeds today. I don't
Notice
like
notice the buildings on the spirally thing in the top left.
Yeah.
Yep, there's a building on top of it.
Yeah, I want to point out. I'm just going to throw this out there. It's way too complex of a topic to actually go about in depth, and it's a huge leap. But Greg was pointing out something to me that isn't it kind of interesting that like farming is sort of like the retiree thing to do. So like, what does this say? You know, does this raise the possibility that maybe Zoro actually beat Mihawk when they were training together?
Ooh, wow. Holy crap.
I mean, that really goes on a rabbit hole. Like, you could really go into a lot of stuff based on that, which is probably more than, this really deserves at this point. But it's an interesting idea. I'm not necessarily sold on it myself. I think Mihawk's just kind of an eccentric guy. Maybe he likes farming. Who knows? That'd
be as disappointing as he was upset. Yeah, I went to Elbaf during the time skip. Oh, it was great. You should have been there. Oh, you want to go back? No. It's like,
I don't know.
And it's kind of nice, but go if someone gives you a free ticket. I wouldn't pay for it. And
I think that'd be a really awesome revelation. And he's like, well, it cost me my eye, but I did it. Like something really badass like that.
I really thought it would have been like, oh, you have defeated me. Now you have the hawk eyes and me hawk.
I thought the straw hat was the straw hat Luffy thing too, but now obviously it's not. That makes sense.
I never thought that. I'm like, straw hats. They're out, tending the fields.
It's Jinbei's hero hat company is taking off.
I like to think that Shanks shows up and wants to party. She's like, if only I had my hat, we could be bros. And Mihawk's just disappointed and everything and takes off his hat.
You never wore that hat when I was around. Oh.
Mihawk's like, get off my lawn.
So Perona has a straw crown there. She just has it riding on top of the hat.
Yeah, I gotta say, for all the ways to keep Perona in the series, this is probably the best way he could have done it.
Yep.
Otherwise,
Without dialogue.
yes.
Oh.
Also, one final note.
I do like her in this role, actually.
One final note I'd like to point out: the title of the chapter is 0 and 4, but in Japanese, "and" is to, to, which in English we would pronounce as 2, 0, 2, 4, 4, 2, 0.
Oh.
Oh, wow.
So you're saying is things don't always translate over into the English language.
I sense some detectable mirth there.
He's saying, Steve, that this is episode 420, and it spells out 420.
It's
Thank
0,
you.
2, 4.
We could have just laughed at my faux ignorance, but no, we just had to.
They're gonna smoke those cabbages.
Yes.
They're hydroponic cabbages.
Got some onigiri munchies.
Nice and muggy.
It's wondering.
It's so muggy. It's so muggy in this room. That's not muggy.
All the smoke in the background.
That's not mug, kid.
Ed, I guess we could get started. I'm sure we could think of some more weed jokes.
Probably. But we start the chapter off with staring. Just the giant ship snail staring.
It's become Dragon Ball Z.
And the man in the cloak with the curly eyebrow is staring. And Peckham's is staring. And then he breaks the silence, I believe the man on the ship. "What are you doing here, Straw Hat Crew?" He announces to them. But they are preoccupied because they need to furl the sails because they're about to crash into the big old snail ship. But the man on the with the cloak continues that Sanji wouldn't be escorted on this ship, so we've missed him. So it seems. And Nami yells up because she thinks this is Sanji. She says, "Hi, Sanji," and Carrot's the same way, and Brooke and Pedro, and Chopper is the most adorable, as usual. But the guy in the cloak just sort of looks on, and Chopper continues to freak out as Luffy is really just dying here. He's dying from eating a poisonous fish. This is big trouble. And Chopper wants to know if they have any antidotes on the ship. And the guy's like, "Why do you keep calling me Sanji?" And Chopper's like, "What?"
Chopper's
next
faces
page.
have been really priceless, I think, in the last few chapters. This one is no exception.
In a series of like 4 panels, he has 3 great faces.
Yeah. Alex.
So not Sanji says, "You got the wrong guy. I don't blame you though." And he takes
doesn't talk like that. He does not talk like that.
Well, who's reading this page? Me or you? So he says with this voice specifically, my name is Yoji. He is Germa 66, Winch Green, Vinsmoke Yonji. So
Color
naturally-
genes.
Yes. So boom, right after that, we're getting Super Sentai. This has extreme potential to be the most amazing thing we've ever seen in One Piece, by the way.
Whoa.
What?
Whoa, I mean, genes were introduced back in the Shamadi archipelago, so don't forget.
Jeans. Okay. Like people named Gene.
Yeah, Jean
No.
Bart. Jean
No.
Bart.
Sean Bart, that's true.
Pair of jeans?
Jeans existed before Shabandi.
Well, they were made cool.
Yeah, I think Nami
John?
had jeans, yeah, at the beginning.
Isn't Luffy just wearing jean shorts for most of it?
Those are jorts. They don't count.
Yeah, Kevin Smith wears shorts.
No one likes jorts.
Can we save this discussion for our jeans podcast?
Oh yes, the unofficial Jeans
No,
podcast. Yeah. So
Knowing how many we're
anyway,
churning out, I could see that happening.
anyway, I'm very
you.
very excited that Sentai are introduced into One Piece because this is definitely Sentai. Chopper exclaims that it's not Sanji but Yonji. They look completely identical. He's even got the twirly eyebrows. But Yonji tells them that my connection to this Saji, is so well kept of a secret. So that's obviously his brother because his name is Yonji. Nami
Also,
figures
the
out-
eyebrows. Come on.
Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. The
No,
eyebrow.
they're going the other way. They can't be related.
Oh, okay.
And his hair is all the way slicked back.
And he's showing two eyes. Guys,
yeah, but
come
it's
on.
the same color hair. They have to be related for that
Nobody knows
reason.
that.
No, it's not colored.
Wait, hold on. We don't know that though. I
I
hope
could
that
have
he has
sworn I've
green
seen
hair.
Sanji wear that kerchief before.
Like, I hope he has green hair. I hope they all have color coded hair. Anyway, Nami
Yes.
Nami figures out that he is the younger brother, and I guess that's just because of his name, Stephen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. There's the note here that I put in, which is that San is 3 and Yon is 4. So it would make sense that Yonji is the next brother after him. That's that is kind of a thing that Japanese families will do on occasion. There are ways that you can sort of number the children.
Yeah,
With
lazy
their
Japanese families.
Yeah, very lazy.
Whoa.
Well, I'm not saying all Japanese families are lazy, but the ones that name their kids that,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. I mean,
I wonder if Yonji has a younger brother and his name is Yonji 2.
That'd be great. So Yonji gets a glimpse at Nami and goes into full-on Sanji horndog mode. And this is, of course, convinces Chopper even more that this is Sanji. But unlike the Sanji that we know, Yonji ends up just showing restraint and just leaving the deck and saying, "Let's pull back. This is a
And
this is
leaving the
amazing."
blood in his nose.
And can we talk about the minions?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
Oh my
These
god.
guys.
the Germa 66 as
we should-
Joey
Yeah.
tweeted out putties.
Putties. I like it. We got to have a new name for each group of lackeys. in
So we've
the
got
arc.
the schmucks.
Yeah.
What do we call the punk hazard?
Toad goats.
Toad goats.
Toad
Yeah.
goats.
Yeah.
What about
That's right.
the Alice in Wonderland people from the other week?
Card sharks.
I love card sharks.
wait, what's the reasoning behind this? Is this like a reference I'm not getting?
It's a Power Rangers reference.
Oh,
The-
okay,
The
that-
minions
then
that
yes.
the Power Rangers fought before they fought the big bad monster in the episode.
Every week.
Putties.
Okay.
Yeah. But then Lord Zed introduced the newer putties, which were better, but for some reason had their weak spot directly on their chest.
Yeah, they were better because they were easier to kill. Like that's
They were better because they made a fun action figure.
that's
When
right.
does Ivan News show up?
In the movie.
So when we get to Wano, if there are like ninja schmucks, will they be the Foot Squad or the Foot Clan?
Yes, that's happening. That is totally happening.
Oh, I swear to God, if Kaido's crew, if there is a freaking warthog guy, and if there is a freaking rhinoceros guy,
Oh my
I'm
god.
just going on the toppest hill and shout, "I love you, Oda." One Piece will never suck.
Bebop and Rocksteady, the One Piece versions.
What are you, Valina, Steve? You could go to tops of hills and yell into the
Oda,
distance.
I'm right here, so come and kill. Wait.
All right. So of course Yonji corrects them, saying, "I'm Yonji, not Sanji." And meanwhile, Luffy is looking terrible, beyond worse for wear. Apparently, these rashes that he's got are spreading. He's convulsing. Chopper recognized that this must be some sort of poison. Like, oh, that's some pig, but it's some poison. So, and because Luffy's already got the strong antibodies from surviving the Hydra attack, and
Was that a Charlotte's Web reference?
it was, yeah,
Okay.
it was very quick.
And
Anyway.
can we talk about like Yonji's outfit here?
Yeah, so
There was
I
a
am-
giant 4 on it, just in case, we didn't get that, too. I didn't even notice that the first
But what
time.
does it mean?
I don't know!
and what's the 69 on his belt mean?
Do you think he's related to Weevil?
So, so he's got a winch. That makes me like he's got a winch in his gauntlets. Is that how this works?
Probably
Probably.
A what?
a
It's a
winch.
winch
A winch.
What's a winch?
for towing
Oh.
things.
Oh,
Stop
you
saying winch.
I didn't know what that was. Now I get what winch
Yeah, it's-
screen is.
Yeah.
That'd be great if he turned into a tow truck. Like he just transformed into a tow truck.
Well, he
It's too many Japanese properties in one.
That's his Megazord.
And his weird shoes with foot pads on them.
No,
I
he's
can't
got
wait.
he's got like a weird disc thing, and he plugs it into his belt, and he turns into a Tonka truck.
Germa 66, the movie Turbo.
I like the
Anything
hair.
else?
I like the hair though, like the little swoop in the spike. It's very
Yeah.
like Tezuka-esque.
Isn't it?
I was gonna say that about all these guys. Reminded me, like, I mean, I guess it's the
Yeah.
Sentai thing, but it
Old school
reminded me of
Sentai.
a Tezuka kind of thing too. I mean, I got
I wonder.
yeah.
I wonder if they'll have helmets.
One could only hope,
Oh.
right?
Like Kamen Rider.
And he's got some
Oh my
TD, and
God.
he's got some TD headphones, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
Yeah. I assume that's
Oh,
what it
yeah.
is.
They all do, really. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
Maybe-
part of the design.
What if they're just earmuffs?
Well, we'll talk about that at the end too, because I want to talk about their quote unquote technology.
Wait, did he have
Muffs by
sunglasses
Dre.
on? He has sunglasses on underneath his hood. Not even wearing them.
And now I'm looking at his tongue on the left, the top left, and I don't like what it's kind of the shape it's
No,
forming.
no, that's
So
bad.
I want to move on.
What shape? That's drool, man. Get your mind out of the gutter.
Sure.
Or the reservoir tip, depending on what we're talking about.
See, that wasn't subtle at all.
What am I talking about? What am I talking about?
Let's go to the next page.
Yeah, Steve, please.
So we
It's you.
see. I didn't realize I was playing the role of Grover.
Somebody
see-
say my name. Okay.
Luffy's in agony. We could really just see he's in rough shape. All the rashes all over his face, and he's like, ah. And someone's saying, I don't know who. This must be Chopper, right? Saying he's in great danger. No, this might be
That's
Nami.
Nami. Yeah.
Nami. Thank you, Steven. He's like, get a grip, and it's like it's just some stupid fish. Is there some stupid fish poison? Aren't you going to be king of the pirates? Which is pretty much what sums up my feelings about this little plot
Yep.
device here.
Yep.
And Carrot's like, don't die, Luffy. And Chopper's pleading, is like, you must have antidotes on your ship. We used up all of ours, and it's still not enough. And Brook is like, if you are Sanji's brother, then we beg of you, please save Luffy. And Yonji responds with, sorry, but I'm not into helping others.
There we go. See, it's great, right?
It's fun when it's not Sanji's voice. If you're really pirates, why don't you try plundering our ship for the cure? Nami just...
They're like, what would we want with all your Cure CDs?
And Nami snaps at this douche and is like, it's like, what's his problem? He looks like Sanji, but he sure isn't. Only the Playboy part is the same.
Yeah, Carrot.
And Carrot's still pleading. It's like, well, she's like, he's not kind and gentle at all. And
Through the
Pedro's
tears.
Pedro's is awesome. He's like, just give the order to fight, and then I will take his place as the new Sanji.
Look, he's even got his eye covered up there.
I'm the cool Sanji with fur and a sword. Yeah.
And we
Furry
hear
Sanji.
a voice coming from the Germa 66 ship call to Yonji as we see some footsteps, and we get a kick to Yonji, but Yonji holds up his forearm to block this kick from this woman who says, "Stop being so uptight."
Oh,
Good.
And that still propels Yonji right into the water as the putties yell out, "Master Yonji!" And I was like, "Who was that?" And we see Luffy still in agony.
That Freddy Krueger skin.
Oh yeah,
that is what that is. I knew it was creepy but familiar.
welcome to your worst nightmare, bitch. And someone hops from the snail ship.
Hops.
And literally, it just says hop right there.
Does she say that? That'd be awesome if she actually does say that.
I heard they
Well-
added more hops to it.
And they call out, her name is Lady Reiju, and while people are they're still back and forth looking at Luffy like, oh, Luffy, you guys suck. Oh, Luffy, no. This woman lands on the Sunny's on the grass on the sunny, and Carrot just goes for the jugular. She's just like, intruder, who goes there? And I'm pretty sure she's
Zap.
armed. Yeah, zap arms her gauntlet thing, which I'm sure like that's a weapon, right? That's not like her actual.
Yeah,
hand.
she's wearing Hulk hands.
Which Hulk hands though, because the 2003 ones were clearly the best.
Oh my God, Steven.
So we turn to the page and we see this is Germa 66, Poison Pink, Vinsmoke, Reiju. And I just want to know, do the Vinsmokes need a son-in-law too? Because, they could get my number if they want.
This is very old
yes.
school aesthetic here.
Waifu material.
Sooner or later, everyone gets a crush.
It's like
Yes.
what's her face from Speed Racer, a little bit.
But she's
Yeah,
kind of like
she-
when you have a good friend and they have a good looking sister, but you can't help but see your friend in them. And
It's not going to stop me.
I guess it
All right, guys,
depends
my-
the person. Yeah.
Come on, man.
My
My
late- my-
sister looks like me. Do you think she's cool?
No, I think she's hot.
Reiju
Don't-
is hot.
Don't ruin this for me, guys. Now I can finally explore my latent homosexual desire for Sanji. No, so Reiju here, she has a bit of a like a Mothra, or a butterfly thing. I believe Roger's base, friend of the show, may have. He put up like a video or something about monarch butterflies since they are poisonous. Which
King
is-
butterfly.
Yes.
Her coat is more of a Luna moth, though, so who knows? It could just be Oda taking liberties.
Yeah, I think who was it, Jill? So one of you guys were discussing earlier how there's like a moth that eats poison or is able to
Yeah,
withstand poison.
I was talking to someone earlier about how like moths can absorb poison, so who knows?
Venom
Okay.
moth.
And she's got, you will notice, those little concentric circle things. Those are little zeros.
I knew it.
And yes, that is the zero.
Oh, those are
in
boobs.
Is that what those
Uh,
are?
And that is so the Rei in her name, Reiju, is zero. That is, like if you remember your Evangelion, that's why Rei was Unit 0. That's why she piloted that one. There's a little naming confluence there.
I totally knew that and didn't just realize it right now.
I'm actually in Steve's boat there. God damn it.
Yep.
I don't know if this is something I should save for at the end of the chapter, but I can only assume that she's named after Zero because she's not a boy. And
Yeah.
my guess is maybe she's the firstborn and it was like a girl.
Yeah, that was what I wondered at first. I'm not sure. It also could be some sort of like a Baroque works thing where like the girls in the family have like a different pattern or something like that.
Could be the order of succession. They are a royal family.
Right. Yeah.
Women don't count towards the line.
Yeah, we just have to wait and see, I guess, see more members of Germa 66 to get the full picture. But at any rate, yes, she is the big sister because she is apologizing for Yeonji, her little brother, who is a heartless, unsympathetic creep. And Chopper is he's just dazzled by so many twirly eyebrows. It's a good thing Wanze isn't here. He would be throwing up. And Brooke is totally enchanted by her beauty. And meanwhile, Yeonji is using his little boot things. I don't who knows what these things are going to be end up being called.
Moon shoes.
Oh my
Moon
god!
shoes.
And they
I
look
like
like
it.
moon shoes too.
And she has high heel moon shoes, kind of.
Yeah, the Vinsmokes are champions of family double dare.
Wow.
I think you broke Steve.
Champions of family double dare.
Yeonji kind of bursts up from the water, and he is furious that he's been embarrassed in front of his new friends like this. And she points out that he's just embarrassing himself. And Brooke is startled by, what he's just floating there, and we see his little sound effects. He's kind of going. Bup, 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 bup. I want to think it's that Jetsons motor sound.
Yes.
Something like that.
That was a really good impression of that sound.
Yeah, and Peckham's explains that Germa's secret is they utilize science to fight, and that is the power that Mama wants from this whole joining their families through marriage.
It's the evil super squad that Bill Nye and Neil deGrasse Tyson would make. One filled with science. No, okay, fine. I'll just go ahead.
And then Brooke adds a little wrinkle to what we know about Vinsmokes when he reveals that isn't Vinsmoke the name of a royal dynasty, a noble family that conquered the North Blue with military might ages ago. And Nami had not heard of this, or she did not realize this. She didn't realize that it was so famous. And Yonji explains that, at this point in the distant past, they were, they were so feared that they were basically, Germa meant evil. That's what it meant. And that is why, their reputation was used for that comic strip that Vito was talking about in the other chapter. And Reiju, she says, "Oh, you seem to know your history pretty well." And he's like, "Well, when you've been alive as long as me and dead as long as me, you know these things." And she says, "Yes, but the thing is, it's not all just the past. We are still a royal line."
And she goes on to explain that Germa is a nation without a land. They own no territory, but they have the right to attend the revelry, which is happening soon, I hear. This is Brooke saying, "Oh, well, pardon then. May I then look at your panties?" And Nami immediately cuts in there. No. Well, she doesn't even get to respond. We don't know if the lecherousness goes both ways in the Vinsmoke family. Anyway, we meanwhile, I think, are those hearts coming out of Yonji also, or no? I guess that would be a misshapen heart.
I think it's just
It
him,
looks like
sighing.
like a poof.
Oh, yeah. Okay. He's the whiny kid here. I mean, it's the little brother. So then Reiju crouches down over Luffy and says, "I think now it's time to dig in." And Peckham's has a very quizzical looking face as he looks on. I mean, as do the rest of the crew. And we look at Freddy Luffy as he's on the floor, smoke protruding out of his mouth. And Reiju continues saying that these symptoms are from the armored stonefish from the boiling sea, aren't they? And Chopper's like, "You didn't put that in a form of a question, but that's correct." Sorry, Ed, thank you. So Reiju explains that the poison has very particular effects, and that he's clearly quite the glutton, since normally this would have killed a giant on contact. And
Luffy has been very careless ever since he fought Magellan in dealing with poisons.
Yeah, how coincidental.
Well, no, I mean they played it up. It could have happened at Fishman Island with the octopus guy.
I don't even think, even if he hadn't had the thing with Magellan, he wouldn't have stopped eating. He probably wouldn't have cared.
Wait, actually, what is the name of the octopus guy?
Gyozo?
Gyozo.
No, not Hachi. Hachi poisoned Luffy?
Octopaco?
Revenge.
So Chopper has, I think, my favorite face of the chapter here, especially since it's in profile, proclaiming that he's a failure of a doctor. We've seen what he looks like when he gets complimented. This is what he looks like when he feels like he's letting people down. And Reiju says that he's very lucky because this happens to be this poison happens to be my favorite. Heart.
It's my favorite.
And so she leans down toward Luffy's mouth and says, "Down the hatch."
Does he?
And
yeah,
what?
She does.
Yeah. It
Okay.
gives him a big smooch as per the literally the sound effect there is smooch. And I'm sure he'll be hearing from Sanji about this later, but Chopper is currently fearing Reiju's life, saying he'll die if you suck out all that poison. Meanwhile, Brook is incredibly jealous of Luffy. I mean, of course, Steven, I'm sure, is as well. But on the other hand, Brook does not have any lips, so it's not like anything would have happened there. And this is like a crazy looking effect here as it like goes up her cheeks, the Freddy Krueger effect there. The rashes, I guess they are. So maybe they're not holes. Like, I guess
Now
those are, yeah. What, Steve?
Now she has been Kruged.
The Kruging.
The Krugening. The Krugening. And she glorps all of the poison. That's the sound effect. That's the sound effect.
Grolurp.
While Carrot and Nami look on.
Does she gloop then gorp?
Uh-oh.
I don't know the technical term for that.
Look at Luffy's body. He's like contorting it because she sucks so hard.
She sucks
Wow.
pretty hard, yeah.
Yeah, he's
Yes.
bent like a
and if you thought it was dirty when Luffy got a handy on Amazon Lily, this might be the filthiest suggestive thing we have ever seen in this manga. When she disengages and is like savoring the flavor here as he just sort of flops to the ground. And wow, look at that.
Sorry, I just can't wait to see Toei's interpretation of that.
Oh, God.
Oh,
I can't
boy.
wait to see Sanji's reaction to this news.
They're gonna get that animation director who likes to make things really shiny to do that one.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. Like back in Dressrosa with Rebecca being pinned down with something that shouldn't have been as suggestive as it was. Yeah, it's gonna look like freaking episode of Mary for no reason. Everything's gonna go back to looking like shit and pace terribly. I'm sorry, am I too negative?
Oh, geez, Perona must have hit you with some sort of negative hollow. It's the One Piece podcast. Fuck you.
Wow.
Our new catchphrase, guys.
It's the One Piece podcast. Fuck you.
I'd buy a mug with that on it.
I'd wear that t-shirt.
Oh, damn
And
it.
meanwhile, Chopper is amazed to see that all of the rashes are gone from Luffy's skin, and he's wondering if she sucked all the poison out. He's doing okay. Yes, I think he's doing okay. And she says, "That's right. I am poison pink." And they're all just like, "What? What? Huh?" And yeah, Luffy's just knocked out. He's sleeping peacefully, and I can't tell if she's like, sort of squeezing her hands together, or if she's just rubbing the side of her mouth. I think that would make more sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is.
She licks
She
her
has
lips.
a gauntlet on that makes it look her hands weird.
Yeah, and she says, "Thanks for the treat." And this is too much for Brook. He is just spellbound, and then John D. Snow here goes, and he's just coughing and hacking. He's breathing again. Chopper and Carrot are overjoyed. They're weeping, horrifying tears, and they're just rubbing on Luffy. They're so glad that he's all better now. And Luffy, of course, doesn't remember anything. He has no idea what was. Oh, I was eating that fish, and then I guess I fell asleep. Man, is there any more of that skin? That was so good. And Nami's just like, no. And
Look at that snail ship. Look at the angry snail
He's
ship.
so pissed. Yeah, I was gonna say that. Why is he so angry there?
Yeah, for a snail, he's surprisingly impatient.
For a snail, he's doing my face.
No, you kind of have that half smile going.
Oh, okay.
That
Like,
snail's got a sail on it.
It does.
many sales.
Okay.
And then Luffy realizes that, oh, Sanji is here? No, it's not Sanji. She's a girl. And he's like, oh, you're right. So who? And someone explains, oh, she saved your life, Luffy. And he's like, wow, really? Thanks. wait, what? And and then we turn the page.
I do want to point out that the page on the right here with the thanks for the treat, this page is the most reminiscent of early One Piece I've seen in years. Because there is, well, it's always been 3 tiers, but there's very few panels, tons of negative space.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, we haven't seen it in a while.
Everyone get that? I remember when I first read this, I was like, wow, clarity. Like I could look at that from far away and be like, yeah, I could see what's going on. It reminded me of early One Piece.
Well, also this kind of reminds me of that pre-Alabasta kind of stuff with Mr. Two, even. Story-wise, yeah.
Definitely,
yeah.
Definitely.
Aesthetically, I like the way the sound effect bubble in the upper right hand goes over the border of the panel. I think it looks really good.
Yeah, when she disengages.
Whoop.
Okay. So, from the Germa 66 ship, Yonji remarks, "So that's Straw Hat Luffy." And amidst all the commotion, and Reiju thanks the Straw Hats for everything they've done for Sanji up to that point. Luffy,
I'm sure up to that point is sort of the point of that statement there.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
That's right. And like Stephen mentioned earlier, the fact that she apologized, or I'm not apologizing, but thanking them on behalf of everyone else, tips Luffy off to the fact that she's Sanji's older sister. At least that's my guess, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, because he figures it out.
Well, the other thing is in Japanese, they don't really have. I mean, there's words for just generic brother or sister, but in almost all cases they specify they have different words for big brother and little brother and big sister and little sister. So if it seems like they're always very specific about that thing in like translations of manga and anime and stuff, it's because that's how they normally say this. And so I just had her use brother just so that it, you're not sort of beating the point into the ground. But Luffy would be able to pick that up from what she said in Japanese. But I just figured, consider that he's learning this between the panels.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So she explains that they were separated at a young age and that their father has always been searching for him. And 2 years ago, there was a bounty poster resembling Sanji. You guys know the one. So father...
Is that handsome?
Yeah. So father had Navy HQ in hot pursuit after him. Turns out to be a different person named Duval. There you go. Let's remember him.
That's why they were coming after him so hard.
Yeah, it brings things together. Yeah.
Yeah.
It wraps everything up in a nice little package.
Yeah. How about that? And Brooke reminds us a little bit of Duval. And I'm sure that in the anime we're going to get a nice 10 to 15 minute recap. But she mentions that it wasn't until recently with the revival of the Straw Hat Crew that finally Black-Leg Sanji was captured on film. And when they were told by the government, their father bumped up the bounty personally and changed dead or alive to only alive. And Nami says what we're all thinking. So that's why Sanji's poster said that. And they ask her where Sanji is now. And she says, I don't know, either with Big Mom or Father. We were supposed to come out and meet him, but it looks like we just missed him. And Luffy gets serious and says, Sanji's sister, thank you for saving my life, but give Sanji back. He's my companion.
Serious face.
Yeah, it's a serious panel. Jill, go ahead, finish this off.
All right, so Reiju's obviously kind of assessing like Luffy's determination here, and I'm not gonna do that voice. So Yonji is he's just saying, see, you saved an enemy. Clearly they're creating a problem for themselves. Your pet comes from the Big Mom's pirates. Why are you with the Straw Hat Crew? And I love Peckham's here. Basically, I've got my own business to conduct, and it ain't none of yours. Growl. Me and you people ain't got no relation yet. And then Reiju's outie. She just jumps with those shoes, I assume. That's true. And like poses very Sentai like. I suppose that for now we'll pretend we didn't see anything. And Yanji agrees because they don't want to get any kind of trouble that could ruin Sanji's marriage to Pudding. And so they're just going to be quiet about it. And Peckham's like, all right, I don't want to ruin that wedding either. Wow. And so with a heart and the ass end of a snail, so long, best of luck. And Yanji has apparently, for the first time, I guess, seen Nami's bounty poster, and he's just drooling over it while Reiju looks in despair and disappointment.
Oh, she's so beautiful.
She's gorgeous.
And that's totally the end of the chapter, right?
Yep.
Crew's gonna trade brothers now. They're gonna trade Yunji away and marry him off to Sanji.
And then from the depths,
What?
we have a surprise here. It's not Jack, surprisingly, in the water. It's a very familiar face, or back rather. It's Aladdin. That's right, absolutely certain. Straw Hat Luffy's on board and everything. So what's the plan? Jinbei. Yes.
Bum, bum, bum.
Hold on to your poneglyphs, guys. It's gonna get real.
I was talking to Steve earlier about how now I get why Aladdin had an Oda box.
I've been saying this for years.
That he's just gonna show up in the middle of nowhere and say, "So what's the plan, Jinbei?"
That's it. That's exactly what I said. Go back and listen to the podcast.
That's his phrase. I wonder what Jinbei's plan about it this is.
What is he? Whoop slap? He's underwater whoop slap. That's who Aladdin is.
Underwater whoop slap?
Yeah, underwater.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
All right, let's go around. Thoughts on the chapter, including this bombshell of an ending. Jill, since you rounded us off, why don't you start us?
I thought it was super fun. I'm so far loving Sanji's family. I really usually hate the whole secret nobility princess thing, especially because we kind of had that with like some blonde guy who can use fire who's secretly a noble. We already had that with Sabo. But the fact that they don't have a kingdom, and also the fact that they're going to Reverie to presumably screw with things, really kind of works it out for me. And Reiju, new love of my life. I hope she has pink hair to match Pink Poison, so she's every single one of my aesthetics. Shout out to Aaron. We know what's up. I could come up with more, but I'm just staring at this panel. I can't.
The the nobility thing is interesting to me because I wonder, like, does that mean that they are technically, would they be considered like celestial dragons, or are they somewhat on the outside? Are they sort of outliers like the Nefertaris in terms of, they're, they have this great status, but they don't, I don't know, they don't partake in all of the the Mary Joa stuff.
Yeah,
isn't it a little bit different because they took their kingdom by force at some point in the past, and the Nefertaris they were founders of the world government, so it's a little bit different of a situation. But I think that they earned their spot at the Reverie by force.
Yeah, I'm interested
in the past they did.
And how they lost their like land, because apparently they had like a really big empire, so that had to be something catastrophic.
Mm-hmm. And does their like science power, does that interface in any way with Vegapunk's storyline? Does it like play into, okay, well they have this special privilege because they are bringing, possibly bringing something to the world government through it, in some way or another, who knows?
All right, Stephen, what are your thoughts on the chapter?
Oh man, what a fun chapter. I really dig, I generally don't care that much about Sentai stuff, but the idea of bringing that into the world of One Piece is really cool, and I especially like the way that it does combine with, kind of as we talked about, the sort of kind of golden age of Tezuka, like sort of 50s and 60s manga, look to their design and their overall aesthetic. I really like that.
It fits in with the
And
comic strip stuff, actually. Now that I
yeah,
think about it.
yeah, totally,
Mhm.
totally.
Yeah.
And that like that is super cool. I'm really into that, and you know, I'm sure that when we get the other members of this group, that they're, you know, it's just going to be fantastic. And I also really like, I think it might have been Zach who said that this was, you know, sort of structurally similar to the meeting Bonchan on the way to Alabasta, where it's sort of like, okay, yeah, they're probably enemy types. And certainly in terms of like where they stand in the world, they are likely to be adversaries, but they have this, you know, somewhat cordial meeting here and decide to go their separate ways. And it's just kind of like a little teaser, I guess, of stuff to come, and that's really exciting. I really like that. You know, that putting a little event like that into the story before the actual arc begins. Yeah, I mean, obviously, the thing at the end with Jinbei is going to be huge, and we'll see how that comes about. But I think it's safe to say that, yeah, we're finally going to get his reinsertion into the story after all these arcs. We're going to finally see Jinbei, the promised one, come back.
And the poneglyph.
Yes.
Dude.
Wow. What a chapter. I didn't really think about the Germa 66 as being a Sentai group when we read last week's chapter, the comic strip one. They clearly looked like they were wearing like Sentai uniforms, but it just never occurred to me that Oda would just bring that into the story. So I am completely floored by that development. There's so many different things that could happen. Like, I hope that Sanji's supposed to be like the yellow one, but like part of the reason they didn't leave, he's like, oh, I don't want to be yellow. I don't like that color.
Do you suppose that there's actually 66 of them?
Mr. Blanc.
No,
Oh,
I think
God.
It's like GRM 66.
Well-
There's just tons of them on stage.
I actually thought about that, but like maybe it's like 66 including the minions, which I don't know. I figured that they'd have more than that, but maybe the 6 is that there's 6 team members, but the other 6 signifies that their eyebrows are curly.
Oh,
6
yeah.
and 6 is just their eyebrows.
That is true, because they are mentioned as like you read the 66 double 6 in the kana. So yeah, I guess that's true. There could be just 6 of them.
Right. And Jinbei, of course, that's really awesome. I thought it was really neat to see Aladdin again. I love when Noda brings back characters that you seemingly sort of forget about. So I wonder what the others got in terms of powers, like Winch Green, Poison Pink. Like they're clearly going for something. God, who knows? There's got to be some sort of like way to connect them all, right?
Well, I had a friend bring up the fact that Yonji, like when he was going in the air with his his shoes. A friend brought up that it's almost like he's using technology to do what Sanji can do naturally with his body.
Yeah.
So it'd be really interesting if they all had like powers, like, ooh, someone can set their leg on fire and stuff like that. But it's just stuff that Sanji knows how to do without the use of technology.
Right. I also thought about this. That Sanji's aversion to bugs could perhaps be linked to the fact that maybe, well, clearly Reiji is dressed as a butterfly. I don't know. Maybe Yonji is like a rhino beetle or something. I don't know. We've got to see the other ones.
Or one of his bigger brothers.
Yeah.
Yonji can't be a devil fruit user because he was knocked into the water. So
Right.
that's confirmed.
That's true.
Well, I was thinking about that, and couldn't the technology he had still lift him out of the water potentially?
Well,
even if
what
he...
if-
It was activated
Mm.
remotely.
What if it lifted him like feet up first, though? That's how it
Right.
would have to work. Like if he fell in the water and
yeah.
order for those shoes to bring him back out of the water, his feet would come out of the water first, and he's just dangling, just ragdolling.
Steve, what were your thoughts on the chapter?
I love this chapter. I'm one of the many people that did not think the Vinsmokes were going to be this Sentai Power Rangers group. I think we all thought, oh, obviously they're going to be mobsters, gangsters. They're all going to wear nice suits and dresses and all that.
Oh man, I'm so
Really
glad-
should have thrown us off that we already had Capone, so we weren't going to get it twice.
Yeah. And Oda's just like, hey, I'm Japanese, so I don't do that shit. This is so much better, though. I love this. They're color coded. At first, even though it was so obvious, I didn't know what color Sanji would have been, but I'm guessing black. Do you think, because the whole black leg Sanji thing? I think Oda would kind of tie that all into one thing. I really, really dig the Sentai thing. Because it's something different. It's something new. What's great about One Piece is One Piece is pretty much, hey, every single thing in the world, we're going to do that eventually. Like, we've gone from having freaking Nightmare Before Christmas Island to this. It's like One Piece could do anything because who the hell cares? Because you're sailing the entire world. There's no limits. So I am really enjoying this. I do like Yonji. He does act like a kid brother. Like he's totally a poser. He's totally a creep. I do really like Reiju though. My feelings are conflicted, but she's a pretty lady. But I really like their outfits. I really like these designs because I think it's the complete opposite of what I was expecting. And I always, it's like I've grown up with Power Rangers and Voltron, so like the Sentai thing has always been ingrained in the things that I've enjoyed. And I'm kind of glad it's finally kind of trickling into One Piece. I really look forward to seeing all these parodies and nods that Oda's gonna do because there's so much. And if there's a giant freaking robot in this, I will lose my mind.
Well, if you remember the comic strip, Sora was accompanied by a seagull and a and a robot. So I figure that there's got to be a robot factor in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Why didn't Frankie come?
General Frankie makes an appearance at the wedding.
Oh my God!
If Frankie was there, then they'd have to do docking again.
Clearly, yes.
You think? What if the Vinsmokes do stupid shit like docking, and that's why Sanji kind of got into it a little bit?
Oh, I hope
no. Sanji would be right there with Robin saying, "No, this is below me." And I think we all were pretty certain Jinbei was going to show up in this arc because he has all those types of Big Mom. Yeah. I'm really happy to see Aladdin back because I was like, good. I wasn't just overthinking. There was a reason why he had an Oda box. I can only assume that he is the new captain of the Fishman Pirates, probably serving under Big Mom or married to one of her daughters. Who knows?
I thought Jinbei was still... Oh, no, I guess he isn't anymore. He stepped down from that crew as well, or he just stepped down from the Warlords?
The funny thing with Jinbei is... Well, I think Jinbei said, like, he ceased being the captain of the Fishman Pirates to kind of make... Because he thought it'd be better for me to bring fishmen and like humans together while not being like a pirate of a I thought he was
still a captain. I guess I was wrong.
I think he was a captain at the time. Yeah.
No, I thought he still was. I mean,
he still was. He said he had business to finish, and then he was going to step down. I think.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
So
yeah, I thought that's what it was.
It's no big deal. But then again, like when I was getting into One Piece, for some reason I misheard or misread something, and I always thought that one of the rules of being a warlord is you had to give up your crew, like you had to become a solo pirate. Because the first warlords we heard of were Mihawk and Jinbei, who were not affiliated with any pirate crews at that point. So.
Yeah, but then you see Moria, and he's got his entire guys.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. It wasn't until Thriller Bark when I was like, wait, but... So, like I said, it was a misunderstanding. But getting back from that tangent, it was a fun chapter. New characters are great. Their designs are great. I'm getting Sanji from everywhere, not just Sanji anymore. more sources of Sanji-ness. It's fun. I can't wait.
The year of Sanji.
It's the year of Sanji indeed. This year is cool.
Sanjina.
The year of Spamji. I'm thinking for the colors, maybe it's the hair color, like Jill said. So wouldn't that make Sanji yellow?
Yeah, that's what. That's.
I hope so.
I
Yeah.
was thinking.
Yeah.
They're either gonna all be blonde or they're gonna have colors based on their colors.
Exactly.
That would be
wait,
really cool.
Does that
yeah.
mean Yonji has green hair like
Yeah.
Zoro?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, what if that's why he's like hates him so much?
Well, I think he hates him. They both hate each other, though. It's a
Yeah.
mutual. It's a mutual hatred. I guess this confirms that Sanji knew that he was a prince when he put
Said
on his Mr. Prince
Yeah.
persona. Yeah,
He
Uh,
likes the perks. He just didn't
you're a
like
prince.
Well, I mean that had been a fan.
God Prince.
That had
I'm
been
a
a fan theory for years, maybe decades. Like that's been
Yeah.
going around for a long time. That's been
Decades?
confirmed. Well, how
When
long
was that
ago
in
was
the manga?
that?
When was Alabasta in the manga? Or Brokeworks?
2004, 3?
Yeah, it was
No.
around, no, it was like 2001 or 2002.
At least a
Yeah.
decade. You know what I meant.
2.5.
Decade and a half almost. Yeah, Ed, what did you
You
think of
round
this
up.
chapter?
That's two.
I love this chapter. This chapter has like everything I love about One Piece. It has interesting new characters with a connection to the past. But anyway, a bunch of other things I dug in this episode. I'm especially digging the design of the giant snail ship. It's got a flat platform on top of a snail with sideways like cones sticking out of it and sails. It's one of the wildest ships we've seen. Except for like Chibi Shipface, which you
Shippy McShipface, yes. That name was voted on and
won
it
the
won.
poll. Yeah.
Don't you say anything different, Attenborough. It won the poll. Go ahead.
Yonji, I like as being set up as sort of a. I wonder how much more he is like Sanji, or how much they have like a brothers rivalry, or if they even remember each other from when they were kids. And when exactly did Sanji run away from the family anyway? And how old was everyone then? What do they remember of him? Because he's been gone from the family for a long time.
Was it confirmed that he ran away or was he kidnapped?
Yeah, we don't know. Well, either way, he was on that ship when he was 8 or 9, right?
Yeah, and he said that he severed ties with his family, didn't he?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it's pretty clear he left.
Yeah.
If I had to put money down on it, I'd say he left.
Really into Carrot as a crew member this week, and continuing on. She's the best. And again, Reiju, this whole gag, this whole set of powers this whole family has is going to be ridiculous. I love it. I love the aesthetic, sort of the 60s aesthetic of the team. And Jinbei's returning with a poneglyph. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I like this chapter a lot too. The thing is the Luffy plot device, which I think, forgot who had that page, but whoever summed it up by saying it's exactly what Nami said. It's like, look, you're going to be Pirate King. Are you really doing this? Come on. I think Steve, you said that. It's just kind of that, oh, he's stuck in a building thing. And as many listeners may know, that's one of my pet peeves about the series.
I kind of forgot about that.
Yeah, I was actually worried that that's what this was going to be. Like, oh boy, I guess Luffy's out for the next volume.
But they did a good job resolving it.
Yeah, like you guys said, it's like when Bonchan showed up and demonstrated his power on Luffy. That's what she just did.
Yes, it's Oda knows what fans like, I guess, so he's kind of pulling on those old elements.
But I was never on the edge of my seat thinking, oh no, what's going to happen to Luffy?
Yeah.
I can't believe he's going to die of food poisoning. The one thing we thought would never happen.
It kind of chimes into the article that Jammer wrote. While I'm not necessarily agreeing with everything he said, but yeah, like it's going to take a lot more for me to think a character's actually going to die.
It doesn't happen that
Stabbed
often.
through the heart
Yeah, Steve, you could get stabbed through the heart.
Yeah,
and then exploded.
I can't wait for Zach to name an episode "Living on a Prayer."
I can.
Every other shitty Bon Jovi song.
We're gonna
That's
be
right.
only naming our podcast after Bon Jovi songs.
Bon Jovi has more than 3 songs?
Is there a third?
John Bon Jovi performed on the Star Wars Christmas record. R2D2,
Wow.
we wish you a Merry Christmas, and the B side was, what do you get a Wookiee for Christmas when he already owns a comb?
Oh, well, that's like a
What?
good name for a podcast episode.
Yeah.
It's more of a name for a 20 minutes episode. I'm really curious to see where the Jinbei stuff goes. And this is the second chapter in a row we end underwater, or at least the last page includes something underwater. So it's interesting. I don't know if that was foreshadowing. I'm curious, does Jinbei have a ship? Is he just with Wadatsumi still? You know, just him, Aladdin, and Wadatsumi hanging out with the poneglyph. And are they crashing the wedding? Are they gonna show up right away? Are we gonna see the next chapter? I'm really curious how things are gonna develop from here. Which
I
makes me
think next chapter might be a journey back to the people who were left behind on Zoe.
really.
Just briefly, might check in with them.
You think we're gonna do a back and forth thing? I don't think we're
No,
doing
I don't
that.
think so. I don't think
Yeah.
we're going to see them for a while.
It's
I don't either.
even if Jinbei shows up with the poneglyph, it's not like Robin is with them, so there's not much they can do with
They're
it.
gonna get a rubbing. They're gonna get the
Oh, yeah.
the pencil rubbing. Or they'll just carry around the poneglyph because that's what they've been doing anyway, and they'll just bring it back. It's like you actually brought the whole thing back. I'm upset that Steve, you and I aren't going to be on for the next episode to see what happens though, and
Yeah.
maybe we'll call in or something.
Yeah, it's a shame I don't read the manga regardless.
You'll never find out.
He'll never find out.
Be careful of being spoiled at anime.
Guys, what happened on the previous two chapters? I only read when I'm on.
But and now before we get into the next segment, a word from Zach. Zach, take it away. Thank you, Zach. We're gonna talk a little bit about Patreon right now, and we still have the whole crew here with us. Hey, everyone.
Ew.
Hi. So before we start, at the end of each month, we will be reading the patrons for the respective month. So this month, I want to thank. I have to pronounce that. I want to thank Kathleen. I want to thank Kathleen Weidenhammer, Dragon6125, FR, Alba Lopez, Joanna Whitaker, Elena Alvis, Zep Arendt. This is going to be just great because I have to pronounce all these names. This one's especially hard. Alex, Luluco, Francis S., Elise, Chris Bachman, Carolyn, Eric Pleasance, Mike, Kane Win, Huntress Fan, and Shauna. Thank you all for supporting us. Now, I want to talk a little bit about our brand new Patreon tiers. These are big thanks to Jammer for putting these together, and we're each going to go through one of them. You might recognize what they're named after. Jill, you want to start us off?
All right, ladies, gents, and other. If you pledge $1 or more a month, you are a part of our Yanta Maria fleet. $1 a month will get you our most humblest of thanks on our website for being such an amazing and supportive fan and a place amongst our grand fleet.
And if you pledge $3 or more per month, you can be part of the Giant Pirate Crew. For $3 a month, you will get our most humblest of thanks on our website, as well as access to seasons 2 through 7 of the One Piece podcast. That's hundreds of hours of content waiting for your consumption. There you can learn the origins of most of the inside of our inside jokes and stand as a giant amongst fans.
And if you pledge $5 or more, you can be in the Tonta Corps, where you'll get thanks on the website, access to seasons 2 and 7, and a shout out on our monthly Patreon segment, just like that. Tata Babasco not included.
And if you pledge $10 or more per month, you will be a member of our Triple X Gym Fighting Alliance. That sounds like a fun group to be a part of.
Yeah.
And for $10 a month, you will have our thanks on the website for your support, access to seasons 2 through 7 of the One Piece podcast, and a shout out in our monthly Patreon segment. You will also be given access to specials, outtakes, early episodes of the Manga podcast and Endless Schmaltz, as well as the opportunity to ask a question to the One Piece podcast crew in a very special monthly Patreon exclusive podcast episode and be a champion.
For $15 or more per month, you could be part of the Hapusui Army. For $15, you could get, of course, our thanks, access to seasons 2 through 7 of the One Piece podcast, a shout out in our segment, as you just heard. You'll be given access to specials, outtakes of the Manga podcast, Endless Schmaltz, and more. you will get to ask a question to the One Piece podcast crew in a special monthly Patreon exclusive podcast episode, and you will receive a special decal. These are only to North American listeners, with the One Piece podcast logo that you could pass down for generations.
And if you pledge $40 or more per month, you will get all of that as a member of the Barto Club, but you will also be sent a One Piece podcast t-shirt to show off your extreme fandom for Zack Senpai.
Yes, thank you.
And also, you should include your t-shirt size in your Patreon profile.
Yes, it's important.
And for $55 or more per month, you are one of the beautiful pirates, where in addition to all of the perks listed above, you will not only get a One Piece podcast decal and t-shirt, but a mug as well. Obviously, the same restrictions apply, so the physical items will ship to North America only, and be sure to include your t-shirt size somewhere in the address that you provide on your profile.
And the last one, Steve, you could be part of the Straw Hat Pirates, and what do you get with that?
You get everything we've mentioned, plus a commission from me, which will be a traditional black and white ink drawing with up to 2 characters of your choice. Whatever you want, keep it clean.
unless Steve agrees that I got to. No,
Basically means no caribou.
Don't try.
Yeah, no caribou. Exactly, caribou's off limit. So yeah, that's for the $75 or more a month for all you rich folks out there. So join us at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. Thank you everyone for going through our brand new categories with us, and we'll see you on the other side.
This is a triple anime recap for episodes 740 through 742. With us today, we have editorial writer for the site. We have Jill Knight.
Hello, everyone.
And we have a mutual friend of the podcast, Joe.
Hello, everyone.
Yeah, so it's going to be us 3 for the recap. We got 3 episodes we got to get through, so hopefully we can zip through them at a brisk pace instead of going through every single detail. I probably overwrote in my initial notes thinking that we were going to tackle these in individual episodes, but here we are.
Because everything about Dressrosa is in a brisk pace.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. Dressrosa. All right. Our first episode that we are tackling is 740, Fujitora Takes Action, The Complete Siege of the Straw Hats. Our screenplay this week is by Tomohiro Nakayama. Our episode director / storyboard artist is Yoshihiro Ueda, and our animation director is Atsuko Kawamura. All right. I'm pretty sure I got that A-okay. Our title card begins at 4:19. There is actually some stuff before the title card starts up, which is kind of rare these days. It's kind of a cold opening situation, but we have Kiro sitting at Scarlet's grave, and we see some flower petals gently falling to the ground, which is actually the kind of a rare thing you see in the One Piece anime, is an actual visual motif that you see throughout the episode.
Yeah, I like the petal symbolism. I thought it was pretty nice because
Yeah.
it's obviously we're not getting it in the manga. It was a good touch.
Yeah, and we come back to it throughout the episode. It's a I guess it's a yellow petal for Kyros and a pink petal for Rebecca.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we get the episode begins with Tsuru and her group of lady marines arriving at the port of Dressrosa and stepping off onto the island. We see the lady group that people have been insistent that we should see more of. And following behind them is a graying-haired Sengoku eating Navy brand rice crackers, and he's just like super cheerful and relaxed, and it seems like retirement's been doing him pretty well.
I love the older generation here because Tsuru, she's such a lady boss. She knows what's up. She's hard ass. She's great at it. And then fucking Sengoku is just he doesn't give a shit anymore. He's let his hair. He's either stopped dyeing it or he just doesn't even care anymore. He's just eating rice crackers, having a good time. Clearly, he's been taking cues from Garp, and it's fantastic.
I love the idea that he dyed his hair before, because usually it's the stress that grays your hair, and now that he's free of stress, his hair is gray. But okay.
I'm
Anyway,
super sure he dyed it before.
Joe, what were you saying?
I was just saying, like the whole of Marineford is just so stressful. His hair just immediately turned white.
Awesome.
We see, Sengoku and Suru meet up with Fujitora, who is thanking them for, coming along and picking Doflamingo up for him. Sengoku gets a good belly laugh when Fujitora explains his dice roll scheme, and Suru is a little peeved about the whole idea. But then Manchuri shows up, just looking adorable as ever, asking,
my God,
asking the Marines to be Dande donors. Then we get a shot where Suru is like leaning over and saying, "Oh, she's so cute," which I just thought was the single most Jill screenshot on the planet.
I swear to God, like every time she was online, like my brother was sitting next to me as I watched these episodes, and every time she was on screen, I was like, "Oh my God!" And my brother's like, "Oh, Jill, is she kawaii?" And I'm like, "Shut the fuck up! She is so kawaii."
All the scene needs is Shirahoshi, and then it'll be perfect.
Don't make me cry.
And Manchuri is way cuter than Shirahoshi. Basically, the Tontatas explain that they want to heal everyone in the town, but it's sort of forbidden by Dressrosa culture that they can't be seen by the civilians, which you'd think they'd kind of grow out of by this point in history, but whatever. We see Viola looking for Rebecca in the palace, saying that she needs to put on her dress, and we see, a pink flower petal for Rebecca falling on the windowsill. We cut to the town where Gyatso's cheering the whole country on, getting excited that King Riku is returning to the throne, and we also get a scene of Riku and Elisabello sort of chatting about the whole scenario and chatting about Rebecca and her relationship with Kyros and whether...
I have to say that the Colosseum is probably kaput now. I'm pretty sure like they're not going to have fights there anymore because it's kind of like the ideal of like Doflamingo's monarchy.
I guess
so.
Yeah.
Gyatso is technically out of a job. So I like to think he just becomes the royal announcer, or you know what? He's just jobless and he just sits up there on that pedestal and just
he's the royal hype
announces
man.
things that happen.
He's the royal hype man. He's the what was that man named? That hype man in that one group that I can't remember. Oh well, it doesn't matter.
Well, like the Colosseum was around before Doflamingo.
Yeah, but I think Doflamingo's I think he kind of owns it in spirit nowadays.
Kind of ruined it now.
Well, no, Sabo ruined it. It's completely destroyed now.
Yeah, there's also that.
Well, Luffy and Danchin Zhao broke the Colosseum, and then they just put it back. They just threw a new one on there.
The whole place is ruined. There's no real fixing at this point.
I don't know. Just get a few Frankies on there.
There's only one Frankie.
Anyway,
he's too super for more.
So we get Rebecca getting dressed into her like yellow dress thing, and she's surrounded by these very weird looking maids. And I remember people using these maids as an example of see, Oda can do more than one body type for women, but they're terrible designs.
Yeah.
Like they're really not great. You would not want a whole arc of these people.
I like the dress aesthetically, except for I'm not a huge ruffles on the top fan, but she looks ridiculous in it. It maybe just that one like scene that really stuck out to me is when she's just sitting looking at herself in the mirror for the first time. Mm-hmm. But her boobs are so big compared to her waist, and yes, that's normal. But oh my God.
Well, no, because I mean, obviously, One Piece women are already like stupidly skinny and like have huge boobs, but like when you have to get dressed up in like dresses like that, normally they have like girdles and whatnot to like squeeze you in further.
He's wearing a corset.
Yeah, corset.
They're like, oh yes, you need to bring your waist smaller, Rebecca. This is not acceptable.
Well, not just that, but I was gonna say I find it funny that one of the handmaidens is like, oh, a girl looks so much better in armor and in dress than in armor, and I'm like, you call that armor?
All right, where was I? The maids are sort of talking about the fake story that Kyros has been spreading about Rebecca's father being some prince from faraway land who died, and we see Rebecca with these funky looking duck lips as she's sort of pouting, listening to the story.
I thought that was cute. I'm not gonna lie. The pouty face was like such a 16-year-old girl face.
Yeah.
She's just like sad but like she doesn't want to cry about it. It was adorable. I really liked that scene.
Yeah. And then we got some scenes of, just the story spreading throughout town, and Kinemon and Kanjuro listening to us, and then we also see Kiro sitting at Scarlet's grave. Some more of the flower petal imagery, and then cut to later, we see the samurai through like a POV shot. We see the samurai spying on the Marines with telescopes, as Manchuria is sort of drawing their healing energy out of them and creating the glowing balls that are going to be used to heal the people. Then all the men start to brag about how many people's worth of healing power they can donate. They're all trying to impress Manchuria. Because
Sengoku getting into that
yeah,
fight.
sure, exactly.
Phenomenal.
It's like I can donate for 5 men. I can donate for 100 men. I can, and so on.
I mean, his double probably would let him.
Yeah,
I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I imagine just being really strong means you can probably donate a lot. And
Yeah, it probably shows how powerful you are.
Yeah,
Or like literally Buddha.
Yeah. And we see Fujitora offering the die roll to Tsuru, saying that if she rolls anything other than a 1, then this will be the day that they start chasing after Luffy and friends. And then we cut to Kiros's house, and Luffy is jumping back and forth between sleeping and eating and crying and being sad about Sabo leaving. And we're hearing the Kiros Rebecca rumor about Rebecca's quote unquote real dad, and Luffy just does not seem amused by this. This isn't sitting well with him.
I think the term is hangry. He is currently pretty hangry. Also, shout out to avocados. Clearly, they know what food to get. There we go. California state fruit, for anyone who doesn't know, the best.
Yeah, and Kiros admits to making the story up, just saying, I mean, that's how it's got to be. It's the right thing to do. But Luffy's not having it. And then Bartolomeo busts into the house. He's blinded by the Straw Hat's beauty. It's like there's not only is there Luffy there, but there's like 5 other Straw Hats.
That was gorgeous. That animation was so good. I laughed so hard.
One of his quotes is, "It's like a laser beam of greatness."
True.
And then we cut back to Tsuru and Fujitora, and she has rolled a 6, which means that Luffy's good luck has run out, and there's some dramatic music as the Straw Hats gear up to start running away from the impending Marines. And then that wraps us up for 740. General thoughts on the episode?
I liked it. I mean, not a ton happened, but it was definitely a setup for the next episode. There were some good shots. I don't know. It was a little bit slow at points, but the music at the end was excellent.
Yeah, the music was really interesting. Like it sounded really it sounded like really old movie, like, which I feel like I'm saying a lot about the music lately, but that's
no, I was noticing it too. They're using older stuff that I don't recognize as much, and it's a nice change, because as much as I love Movie 10's soundtrack, it was used a lot, and I could recognize it constantly. So it's nice to hear a bit of different stuff.
Yeah, there's a lot of different stuff, especially like in the last 10 episodes or so. I feel like it's just been really getting unique lately. Joe, you have anything you want to add?
Not really. I really like the stuff with like Sengoku, like you said, laughing at Fujitora.
Yeah, I actually really like this episode. Like it's one of those really strong like sensory based episodes. Like it's all about just being really nice and pleasant and having good music and being reflective on the story and where the characters are coming from. Like especially Kiros and Rebecca. Between all 3 of these episodes, we get so many reused flashbacks of Kiros and Rebecca. But
I know, like if I had to hear that fucking song one more time.
Oh no, I love that song.
I don't even know what song we're talking about right now.
It's the Soldier Son song.
Oh, that's
where
such
he's
a great
just
song.
like always be. It's so cute.
Such a great song.
Yeah, but when you've watched this episode this many times and you keep hearing it, it's just like, okay.
It's only like 2 lines. It's a 2-line song. I'm okay with listening to it.
Something that something. I don't know.
He'll always be here. He's a brave man. Something. Your dad's a toy. Your mother is dead. Something. Sucks.
All right. We can move on to episode 741, A State of Emergency. Rebecca is kidnapped. The screenplay for this episode is Tomohiro Nakayama, who I think was the one who did the episode 740. Episode director is Kentaro Fujita, and animation director is Kenji Yokoyama. The episode opens with some Marines marching through the city on their way to capture Straw Hat Luffy. We see Bastille throughout these next few episodes. There's a lot of Bastille hovering over a strategy map with little pieces that he moves around, and getting angry when the Marines are reporting back that things aren't going as planned. Fujitora just sort of leaves, saying, "I'll leave the rest to you," even though you think most of it is his responsibility.
Sure.
Come back to Kiros's house. Usopp is freaking out, and the samurai are sort of talking him down. Kinemon saying, but we do have a problem. We don't have a ship of our own. And then that's when Bartolomeo sort of interrupts, saying, Luffy Senpai and everyone, I'll lead the way. We've got a boat of our own. He explains that many of their allies that they met in the Colosseum, all the friends they've been fighting alongside throughout Dressrosa, are waiting at strategic places on the way to his ship, and they're ready to get in the Navy's way and cut them down if need be. And we see everyone being really stealthy and hiding in cloaks, despite not being stealthy at all.
Okay,
especially
Howard
Howard. Yeah.
I swear to God.
I can't remember. Did he have a robe too?
I can't remember, but what's
I'm sure he did.
Point? How did they even get into that position? Anyone else, fine, but how did Hyruden stealthily get between two goddamn fucking houses? There's no other giants on this island. It's not like in this lobby or something where there's a giant on the marine side. There is no one there who's the size of him. Yeah. How did he get there without anyone?
Well,
noticing?
I mean, he's not a wanted criminal at this point, so I guess it's not.
Yeah. Isn't he a pirate?
Oh, I guess he is.
He's working with Buggy.
It's true. I'm just thinking about all the people who were sleeping at the palace, even though they're equally criminals alongside Straw Hat. But we get Cavendish nibbling on a rose and actually eating the petals on this. And
then it goes right from cabbage eating to Luffy eating, within a frame, and it's great. It's like a mirror of it.
Yeah, they call it. What do they call it? There's an actual film term for that. Match cut. There we go.
There we go.
So this puts Toei up alongside the likes of Apocalypse Now.
Oh, good job, Toei.
Yeah, so that's what they're going for, I'm sure. We get a montage of getting ready close-ups as they're getting their their bags ready, their swords ready. Robin flips her hair and is looking fab. Luffy asks.
My note said Robin's hair flip is life. So, I agree.
It's pretty good. Luffy asks Bellamy if he can stand up, and Bellamy responds, "Yeah, I can even run." Bellamy and Law get into a little bit of argument, saying, "Straw Hat insisted you were friends, so I carried you just in case." But they don't really seem to get along. Law isn't satisfied with Bellamy's gratefulness. He doesn't think he's grateful enough towards Luffy. We see the Marines charging the flower field, zeroing in on Kiros's house, but Barto puts a barrier up and lets everyone run. And then we get this really kind of funny sequence of Luffy running, but still eating the meat, and then he's slows down, letting the group get ahead of him. He's still eating the meat. He actually eats the whole bone. He turns to the Marines. He just bites the bone. He just chews it and swallows the whole thing. And he licks his fingers one at a time.
So all of them coming out of that house is so funny to me because there's 10 people in there, and it is a tiny house. And they have people the size of Bellamy and Frankie just shoved in there. It's like a clown car after a point. And then I also have my notes how Luffy, theoretically, if you didn't know Luffy and you were a Marine and you just see this dude who's worth so much belly, eats the meat, then just stops, stares at you, eats the entire bone, licks his fingers, and then just runs off a cliff, I'd be I quit. This guy is crazy. He's gonna kill me. I need to leave. So scary.
He starts running in a different direction. He jumps off a cliff, a huge cliff. It's a really big dramatic jump scene, which there are a few of in these episodes. Mm-hmm. And he lands with his gum balloon and just keeps running, charging at the Marines with a Gum Gum Gatling. We come back to the palace where Viola is watching Luffy with her powers and explaining and commenting the situation to Rebecca like it's a football game on the radio. Rebecca is worried that she's never going to get to say thank you to Luffy, even though Luffy's now on his way to her. Then we see the Straw Hats leading Straw Hats with a banner that says "This way, come here."
It's like people at Disneyland who have a tour group. This way, come here.
Usopp trips on a rock and Bartol cries, "Even when you fall down, you look cool." And there's like sparkling and whatnot, and Abdullah and Jeet have beaten up a bunch of Marines, and all the allies are fighting, and there's Haruden lifts a whole building out of their way.
That's subtle.
Yeah. Then there's a big dramatic group pose that it starts with Baby 5 and it zooms out, and it's just a cool group shot. Luffy grips onto one of Pika's spikes and he twists his arm around them and sort of Spider-Man's around the island, but he gets stuck and he has to untie himself, and he falls back into the flower field, and like a bunch of Marines pop out of the flowers with guns, and it's kind of like that scene in Jurassic Park 2 where like the velociraptors are like stalking them. You just see like the weeds moving.
Every time Luffy screws up with his like rubber powers, it's so funny because like if anyone else screws up with their powers, like a Logia, they're like, oh, Ace is partly fire, but with like Luffy, it's so stupid because there's recoil and all that stuff with the rubber. It's great.
So yeah, Luffy's just beating the shit out of everyone in the flower field because of course he does. Uses third gear. Rebecca gets out of her seat and looks out the window. She's happy to see Lucy, and she calls out his name, going, "Lucy, I'm so happy you're here." Luffy grabs.
They should hire you for the English VA. That's perfect.
Yeah, I know, right? I've sent some emails, but I haven't heard back yet.
Come on, Toei. Or Funimation.
Luffy grabs the bars and pulls himself towards Rebecca, and there's actually kind of a cool shot of Luffy's POV as we like zoom in at Rebecca, and she's like happy to see him. Luffy just looks like so mad when he's grabbing the bars, and he's just like panting, and Rebecca's like got a little tear in her eyes. She's happy to see him. But he's not really listening to her. He's just saying, "Are you really okay with the way things are?" And Rebecca explains that she got a letter from Kuros and that he's been trying to distance himself from her, but Luffy's just like trying to ask him like, how do you feel, like are you happy with this, and then she sort of breaks down and starts crying, and is worried that she did something wrong, is worried that she's annoying him, and that's why he's trying to distance himself from her. And then she turns to Viola and asks a favor, and then soon Luffy and Rebecca are busting out, and he's carrying her, and they're going on another humongous jump. And then
I have to say, I really like the way they did the flashback, because she was just like talking to Luffy between the bars of the palace, and then they did a flashback where she's talking to Kuros, and between them is the bars of the Colosseum.
Right.
So I thought that was a really good parallel, because like in this way she's also still trapped in this life, and all she wants to do is be with Soldier-san.
Mm-hmm. And the episode ends with the Straw Hat group running to shore. But something catches Law's eye. He sees Sengoku and a gorilla just sort of poking at a fainted Marine curiously. And then that pretty much wraps up episode 741, which means that we can begin episode 742, the bond between father and daughter, Kuros and Rebecca. And the screenplay this week is by Shoji Yonemura, and episode director is Katsumi Tokoro, and animation director is Masayuki Takagi. So this is the episode, because the other two episodes, like I was basically just going by memory from watching them last week. But this is the episode that I watched just like 5 minutes before starting this recording. We get Luffy and Rebecca jumping from building to building, running on the roofs. The people of Dressrosa are trying to stop him. They're like amazed. They're shocked that their hero is kidnapping the princess. It doesn't occur to them that there might be like an actual good reason for this. But Luffy and Rebecca get blocked by a line of Marines who have sort of cornered them in a part of town, and they begin shooting sea prism stone nets at them. And one of them actually catches on Luffy's hand.
Yeah, it's amazing they fucking start finally using these. They were using bullets before. Everyone has to know that Luffy is rubber. It literally just
I
hurts
know.
them if they use bullets. Like, why would you even attempt?
Right.
It would be better if you just point at him and be like, there he is, rather than try to shoot when it's just going to aim back at you.
Right.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that like last episode, they kept shooting at him. It's like, it's not like.
Well, it's that question with like the Marines. Like, don't they list like the pirates' powers on their wanted posters or anything?
Well, not just that, but like Barto's barrier, they kept shooting at it. It's like, it's a barrier. You can't get through it.
Well, they need stuff to pad the time out with. We have. I have to find my place in my notes again. One of the Sea Prism Stone nets actually catches on Luffy's hand, and he gets sort of tossed to the side and is, growing weak because of it. This episode's very filler heavy. And Rebecca just sort of pulls it off and then gets back on, jumps him back onto his back, and they start running again. And then jumping off another cliff. Rebecca's just like crying because it's so scary.
Her face
that was
so
funny.
good.
Yeah, that was funny.
They even like crash through someone's house, like they're jumping through the windows, and it's like something out of like an 80s movie or something. Like they're just like jumping through their house, and like he steals their meat, and he's like popping out the other side of the building, and now has someone else's meat.
And Rebecca's just like apologizing as they go through.
Yeah. We cut to Kyros in the house. He's sort of packing up because she's trying to leave. Don't know where exactly he would go, but whatever. He's sort of nostalgically looking at the gloves he used to use to hold Rebecca in because he was afraid of tainting her with his germy hands. And then, okay, I think I missed something in the dialogue between Luffy and Rebecca, because then I was very confused when Rebecca shows up at the entrance of the woods and she's just alone.
Luffy said that he had to go somewhere to meet up with his crew, but like he was gonna drop her off at the flower field
How did the manga version of this work? Because I thought Luffy was there when they met back up.
No, he wasn't. He wasn't there.
He wasn't
I know
there.
that much.
Oh, okay. But I mean, yeah, I thought I was super confused when like suddenly Rebecca's just alone and we don't actually see her and Luffy going different directions.
Her and Luffy's like last little shot was really cute. It was animated really well. Rebecca, she just looked really pretty. I mean, she always does, but like the animation was really good. And there was a point where they were both running and just grinning, and it was pretty adorable.
So yeah, Rebecca's at the entrance of some woods that supposedly are going to lead to the flower field on the other side.
How convenient.
And she starts running through the woods, and this is all very fillery. She's just sort of having memories of herself as a child with Toy Soldier, and it's all the stuff we've seen a million times at this point. But it's nice, and she trips on a root, as you do, and the memories continue, and she gets herself up, and then there are more memories again, and then she's running, and then she scratches her face on a tree branch, like that scene in Fellowship of the Ring.
Not gonna lie, I think it would have been better if instead of tripping on a root, she would have tripped on like her dress, because she's clearly not used to wearing actual clothes.
That's a good idea.
Would have been good.
And yeah, and speaking of her dress, along with her face, her dress is getting sort of scratched up and torn, and holes are getting made in it as she's running. Kyros is packed up and he's leaving. There's a few full body shots to just remind us that maybe Kyros should be walking with a crutch, or at least like using his sword as a crutch or something.
At least he like hops at some points, like you can see that he's hopping.
I don't know,
yeah.
I just see him standing in like a full body shot, and it's like he's gonna have to step forward in order to move. How does that work?
His balancing is ridiculous. The fact that he just balances like if he had two legs instead of like wobbling on one
I can
is
accept
ridiculous.
that he's strong and he just has like a good sense of his body like that, but like there's still some things that just aren't practical, like like walking.
Like, isn't there something that pirates can put on their legs, like a peg leg or something?
Yeah.
No, that would be ridiculous.
It's not like we've ever seen anything. It's not like there's any precedent for that in this series at all.
Oh, okay.
Still salty. Still salty. Robin didn't grow her leg in place of his during the battle. I'm so mad.
So yeah, he's packing up and leaving, but Rebecca shows up crying. Don't lie. She seems kind of angry at him, and he's saying like, it's not a lie if it's for your own good. I've killed people, and Rebecca is sort of giving this little speech of, it doesn't matter if he's killed 100 people or how tainted his hands are. I only have one father, and her tears are going all over the place. Like it's like spraying outward, her tears. I'm Kiros's daughter, she cries. And crying scenes are always great in One Piece. We know that.
This is cute.
It continues. It builds. Kiros starts crying. Kiros is a great crier, I've noticed. His crying scenes are great. She runs up to him and hugs him. She's got that adorable like crying while smiling face going on, and she's looking up at him. Kiros is happy crying, and he's wailing again. This is similar to a few episodes ago where he had his emotional breakdown, and his voice actor's wailing is really great when he's crying.
I have to say that Rebecca's VA in the past 2 episodes has been super on point. She has done a really good job with the crying, with the shock, and everything. Like she did a really good job.
Yeah, I like it when she talks to Luffy and she's just like screaming in his face. Like, no, of course I'm not okay with this.
Yeah, she does a good job at sounding like a 16-year-old girl.
We have back to the palace where Viola is telling Riku that Rebecca's not coming back. This is the second time in my life that someone's asked me such an odd favor to take their place as princess of the country. I mean, I feel like at this point, Viola is just sort of accepted as the rightful like heir to the throne.
I'm confused at how people think princesses work, because even if you're not the heir, you're still a princess.
Right.
So I'm not sure if that's just some loss in translation or if Dressrosa is a really weird
some, like,
country.
Firstborn nonsense where like it was supposed to go to Scarlet, but then Scarlet had a kid, and so it's supposed to go to the kid.
Yeah.
I don't know. So we come back to the Straw Hats running to the shore. They've pretty much made it. But Fujitora is coming in on a giant piece of rubble, using his gravity to fly himself forward. Zoro seems excited to fight. He's slashing his sword and creating a flying slash and breaking Fujitora's rubble. There's
what
another.
If he just like?
Huh?
What if he's like flying so fast on that thing and he can't use his like blind person stick? So what if he just like ran into a wall or something?
Right. He can't do the thing that we know all blind people do, where he can feel the vibrations in the ground because he's not touching the ground right now.
Yeah, he's not Toph right now. He's not gonna be able to do that.
Exactly. Maybe it's a hockey thing. We get another big sort of cool group shot with Cavendish and Farul and the whole Coliseum group. The Tontadas the Marines are just wondering where all their bullets and gunpowder have went, and where all their swords and spears and whatnot have gone. And we see that the Tontadas have run off with them, like at the beginning of Dressrosa when they stole Zoro's swords.
Yeah, and there's that one Marine who's searching in his pants because of what was in the SBS, I think, just this past volume, where I think what it was like, oh, they stole all the tama, which is like rounds in Japanese, and like, kintama. So he was looking for his pants, and Oda reassured his balls are still there. The balls are not inert. They are still there.
Nice. And Leo has stitched some of the Navy ships together, which is a pretty crazy thing that he can do. And then we see some more of Manchuri taking some of the healing energy from the Marines. And apparently, if you take too much of it, it's going to cause people to pass out. And Mauji tricks her and says that the Marines have agreed to do this, or the exact phrasing is, "We have permission to do this." And then, like, to himself off to the side, he's like, "Kiros's permission."
Oh my god.
Poor Manchuri. Shouldn't lie to her.
Manchuri's just being manipulated. What the heck?
And then we cut to the last scene of the episode where Law and Sengoku are talking about Corazon. And we flash back to Corazon talking to Sengoku over the phone. And we see Corazon putting on his sunglasses, and I expect to hear the Marines in the background. Not the Marines, the Who, the band The Who. Like, yeah!
Ends with like some ridiculous pun.
Because the way he's putting the sunglasses on just looks exactly like that.
It'll be like, don't worry, Sengoku, I'll follow the law.
That's a good one. That's really good. And so he's talking to Law. He's telling the story about how One day a Navy soldier died. He was someone who was very special to me. And we see a flashback of baby Korra meeting Sengoku, and Sengoku's like patting him on the shoulders, and Korra's crying just because his life is terrible, obviously. He was honest and had a stronger sense of justice than anyone, but he lied to me once in his lifetime. And then we get the story of Corazon saying, "Oh, I'm just going to leave this whole op fruit to you guys." Lying about his plan to steal it for Law. And then we see Sengoku getting a photo from a transponder sale of Korra's dead body. And we see Sengoku crying over the photo, similar to how Sabo was crying over Ace's photo in the newspaper. And then Sengoku goes on to talk about how we only lost 4 things that day. We lost Korra, we lost the Barrels Pirates, we lost the op fruit, and we lost the kid who Korra was protecting. And Law has a dramatic, "Yeah, that was me." And then dun dun dun, the to be continued. And it seems like they're about to have a dramatic confrontation, even though we know they're not. But
oh, spoilers! What the hell, Sam?
I'll slip a few every now and then.
I like to imagine. I don't think this will ever happen, but it's my headcanon that now that Sengoku's like, "Oh, I'm a grandpa now," and he just looks at how Garp treats his grandsons, and he's like, "This is how I'm supposed to act," and that's why now he's just batshit, and he's just gonna start showing up at Law and be like, "Hey, your grandpa's here," throwing rocks, throwing Buddha fists at the submarine,
Offering him
throwing him
crackers.
into a ravine.
Training. You're gonna be a good Marine, Law.
Yeah. And that wraps up our triple anime recap. We actually got this done much quicker than I was worried we would.
Oh, good. I have time to watch more One Piece.
Right, exactly. Any lasting thoughts of these 3 particular episodes? I'll take that as a no.
I liked them. They're, little slow at points. I'm sure some of the other guys in the podcast will be like, "Nothing happened." But you know what? Sometimes you just need a sensory few episodes where there's a lot of emotion. There's some pretty shots. The voice acting and the music was definitely on point for these 3.
Yeah, I really liked the first of these 3 episodes. The following 2 were very slow, and it's very you can feel the padding.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's just Luffy beating up a bunch of Marines and cutbacks to the Rebecca Toy Soldier stuff.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Joe, thoughts? Anything you want to say?
I guess I just want to mention something kind of ironic. How with the gorilla, I think it was Greg that mentioned it when this chapter came out, that the gorilla eating the crackers was a timepiece to say hey, this conversation doesn't last very long. But it now cuts into the next episode.
Yeah. So yeah, that will be our triple anime recap for this week. Let's do another triple anime recap 3 weeks from now. How about that?
Oh yeah, let's just keep this as the norm monthly, guys.
let's really not. Let's not do that.
Oh my God.
So I guess that means we can get on to the next segment, whatever Zach and friends have in store for the OPP audience.
Sounds like a fun cartoon. Zach and Friends tonight, Saturday night on Toonami.
All right. Thanks you guys for coming.
No problem. Thanks for having us.
Yeah,
All right,
thanks.
and then that should do it.
Welcome to the Piece Together segment, where you will compete for fabulous prizes with your questions, comments, and theories. No prizes actually given. So let's begin with emails today. First one comes from Drake, who says, "First of all, congratulations on 7 years. To put your work in perspective, by the time you reach the anniversary, which is next week, you guys will have covered around 283 chapters. Wow. 25 volumes. Also good. And that's a lot of work, so good job, he says. He continues on with volume 78 recently out here in the US. I decided that I wanted to go back and listen to the chapter reviews for that one, so chapter 776 through 785. So his One Piece podcast 7 years thing, and I read it because I completely forgot this joke. was during the Zoro versus Pika fight. He laughed at Zoro huckifying his gums and Steve saying, "Gingivitis can't stop me now."
Who said that?
You, apparently. I don't even remember that.
Wow. I always like when people choose moments I've completely forgot about, but then again, how could you blame us with 200 and shabba many chapters?
Almost 300, yeah.
The technical term?
Zoro, when's the last time you've been to the dentist? Don't need one. Hockey.
Yeah, I play hockey, so I don't need a dentist. All my teeth are already out because I get the hockey fight.
He also says in the Trafalgar Bra episode when Matt Cohen made an offhanded piece together question that you said you probably would answer at a later segment, and you haven't. So he's going to ask it again. If the Straw Hats were marsupials, which ones would they be? I remember why we put this away, because there's like 3 of them that I know.
First, Drake, I'd like to congratulate you on having such a fruitful hip hop career post Degrassi.
That dude was on Degrassi.
Yeah, he played Wheelchair Jimmy.
He's Canadian as hell.
I have not watched Degrassi, so I don't know.
I watched the SNL episode with Drake.
Not great.
Go
For you.
So what marsupials for the Straw Hats?
Well, what marsupials do we have? We have kangaroos, we have wallabies, we have
Wallabies.
Koalas,
aren't those?
koalas.
Koalas, kangaroos, wallabies,
Possums.
wombats.
No, wait, are they?
Opossums. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's one of them are rodents, and one of them there's opossums and possums, and one of them are rodents, and the other one's marsupials.
I'm pretty sure
Is that
they're
right?
they're all opossums. Possum is just what rednecks call them.
No, I'm 100% positive.
Sure you are.
Are you?
Who's
Yeah, I
your
just looked it
favorite
up. I just
possum?
looked it up. A possum is a tree-dwelling Australian marsupial that is typically has a prehensile tail, and an opossum is a marsupial animal of the Western Hemisphere.
Oh,
I would,
all right.
I would just call them chuzzwuzzes.
what's that thing that
The thing about marsupials is the males have a bifurcated penis.
wow,
Let's stop talking about marsupials.
you mean a hemipenis? That's what reptiles have.
Sure.
Yeah. What's that thing that Finn Rizal got transformed into in Willow? That rodent? It wasn't a rodent though. It was probably a marsupial, right?
I think you're the only person that's seen Willow.
What is Willow?
I don't know what the hell that was.
You're old, Alex.
Ugh. Anyway, if the Straw Hats are marsupials, so we can pick between a wallaby, a kangaroo, an opossum,
Maybe I should
koala,
look up other ones.
a wombat, and whatever Finn Rizal got transformed into in the movie Willow.
Sanji's a kangaroo.
Oh, a bushy baby? Is that what they're called? Bush babies?
Bush baby.
Yeah, aren't they marsupials?
So, baby.
I don't know.
The baby with a beard.
I don't even know.
Bush baby. They're like little thingies. They've got to be marsupials, right? Because they're Australian.
Sure.
So,
they're of course they're
Sanji's
dasyurids, which I'm sure you've all heard of. Pygmy possums. I'm looking up other ones. Yeah, that's really it. There's no others that I know
We're
of.
spending
Well-
way too much time on this.
Well, Sanji is a kangaroo because he kicks.
Luffy's a kangaroo.
He also kicks.
There's got to be some repeats here.
Yeah.
Oh, bandicoots. Like Crash.
Crash Bandicoot.
Is that how the theme song goes?
Yeah. You didn't know.
Jeez.
So, yeah, I guess we still don't have an answer for you.
You know what? They're all kangaroos. We can
They're
just
all
go with that.
They're all kangaroos, all of them, except for Brooke. He's dead.
And Chopper is a tanuki.
That's right.
Which is a
Thanks for playing,
marsupial.
everybody. Good
Yeah.
night. That's it. Piece together.
It's it for piece together. We're
Good
not getting better than that. Next question from the emails comes from HJ. Considering that the Wano arc could be in part based on the tale of Momotaro, with Momonosuke representing Momotaro, Dogstorm representing the dog, Luffy representing the monkey, and Kaido representing the Oni, do you think that Aokiji will appear in Wano since he represents the pheasant?
That'd be fun. But he's part of Blackbeard's crew now, right?
He's
working.
related. Yeah, we don't know how.
Possibly affiliated. What was the question?
Do you think that Aokiji is going to show up on Wano because he would represent the pheasant in Momotaro, and that seems to be the theme that Oda's going with, is the Momotaro theme?
Oh, he is the only pheasant guy we have right now.
Unless there's a guy with a pheasant fruit.
Yeah. I think that the problem with that is that since the 3 admirals are already named after those, that it seemed like it would be sort of redundant to have him be the one, and then the other 2 are just different people rather than Kizaru and Aokiji. So
Marco.
Or Akainu.
Oh,
yeah, I think it's Marco. Yeah.
It's got to be Marco.
Yeah.
I'll say it would be very Aokiji like to show up there and be like, "Why are you here?" Well, that's a good question. I can't.
Next question comes from Blair, who said, "What kind of parents would the Straw Hats be?"
Terrible.
Awful parents.
Other than Nami.
Usopp.
She said Nami and Robin would be helicopter moms.
No. Oh.
And
don't
they could transform
think
into
Robin
helicopters.
would-
Nice try. Humans can't do that.
But with Robin's devil fruit ability, she could possibly be a helicopter.
Sanji, if he had a daughter, would be the most helicopter dad you can imagine.
Mm.
He knows how bad men get. She also says that Usopp and Luffy wouldn't be pirates and leave their children.
No, Usopp's
because
got a
they'd
lot
be
of
the
his
opposite of
dad
their own
in him.
parents. Yeah, I don't know if that's accurate. I think Luffy would think a parent is someone who leaves them at birth and never sees them again.
Luffy would take his kid with him. He'd be like, yeah, another crew member. Maybe.
I think since Nami had like a mother who was there pretty much for most of her life, she'd just be the better mom anyway.
Yeah.
Like-
I have like my headcanon that she's gonna grow up, adopt a bunch of children, have a floating casino. Yeah.
I thought you were gonna say a floating orange farm, but that makes sense too. I guess.
Casino themed. Yeah.
Casino themed orange tree.
Is that what One Piece
Perfect.
Film Gold is going to be? Next
Hey.
question comes from Ash. First, who says happy
Ketchum?
7th? No, a different one. Happy. He starts happy 7th anniversary to the podcast. He's been listening since 2010. And you guys got me through my fun employment and studying to get his advanced diploma in broadcast television, and now being fun employed again. Full circle for now. We hope.
Well, I know the podcast in the early days got Zach through his fun employment.
Very literally, yeah.
Is
That's
this
why-
a new thing where everybody just has really a lot of fun at their job?
Yeah, your job is staying at
Quite
home.
the contrary.
No, that's why we did 2 episodes a week for that first year, or first 2 years. I didn't have a job. Anyway, he goes on. Last week you did a call-in show where you jokingly suggested a cast for a live-action One Piece movie that will hopefully never happen. And after thinking it, I've suggested some cast choices of my own. So let's hear his cast choices here. First, for any One Piece villain, Jason Statham. As Zoro or Ohm, he would like Vin Diesel.
Okay.
Zoro.
Zoro's
Yeah.
the Rock.
Let's stop. Before we go any further, if Jason Statham is going to be in any movie, he has to say the title of the movie in the movie at least once.
I'm off to find the One Piece.
One Piece. It's the name of a treasure in the Grand Line.
Gotta go.
So say if like Jason Statham was in film Gold, you say, so you're saying his power is gold in this film.
This is a film.
And also if it's Jason Statham, he has to ring a doorbell and someone has to answer the door by looking through to see who it is. And he has to run and drop kick the door down.
Well, let me continue through this list. As either Wapple or Saltery, we have Danny DeVito.
Wapple,
my God.
please.
Wapple, yes, but I'm still thinking.
Maybe Saltery.
Why
too.
would
Like,
any movie have Satoria? Like, seriously.
Thank
Why
you, dude.
Jason?
Thank you.
Like how long is this movie?
It's pretty much like Mortal Kombat Annihilation. Let's just like cram in every character.
Oh yeah, like Rain, you disappoint me. I'm gonna kill you, even though I just introduced you. Just the other night.
Why Jason? Wait, like if you want to have Danny DeVito as Wapple, why did you say Jason Statham as any villain? Can Jason Statham be Wapple?
Wait, there's
Who would Jason Statham do you think Jason Statham could be Bon Clay?
yes.
Any villain.
There's two
Doflamingo?
more. No,
Oh,
he
yeah.
has one for Doflamingo, and that's Jack Leeson. And for Treble, he has two choices, so you get
Jack
to pick.
Gleason? You mean
Isn't that Joffrey?
Joffrey? He's retired. He's retired from acting. He can't be in this. Like, nope.
He's also 3 feet tall.
Yeah, that's also true.
For Treble, there are two choices, and that's Seth Rogen or Johnny Knoxville. Depends what direction you want to go.
Hey, Alex, how would Seth Rogen's treble laugh go?
I think it would go a little something like this.
I didn't hear any bees in that.
Yeah, because it's just Seth Rogen. He just does the same fucking laugh in every movie.
And why Knoxville? Because he wears aviators?
No,
Yeah.
because that's what he looks like after he's deglued, degooped.
He kind of looks like
Degooped.
he kind of looks like
Glooped glorped.
yes.
It's the glovely, it's the gloop glorp.
Yeah, Goop Troop Part 2.
Please,
Well,
are there
it's-
more? Because I'm loving every moment of this.
No, that was it. I'm sorry. Ash. Ash or anyone else free to send in further suggestions. Next one comes from Joe, who
Someone just open up like that old Beckett DBZ magazine casting for live action DBZ movie and just take your pick from there.
Oh my
Like,
god.
hey, Jackie Chan would be a great movie.
and then you can find Greg's articles in there right next to that. That was for
No,
trivia.
but
Do you know who needs to play every single character? I'll tell you who needs to play every single character. Mad Dog from the Raid. That guy, holy shit. That guy can really I don't think I've ever been more entertained by somebody on screen. And he plays a different character in the Raid too. It's crazy. Mad Dog, look him up.
Okay.
It's not his actual name, by the way. That's just the character he plays in Raid.
Oh, I was worried about what his parents were doing.
Okay, let's go to the next question. Is from Dylan, who says that the suits worn by Germa 66's foot soldiers, what are we calling them again?
Putties.
Putties. The
Putties.
putties.
Please.
The putties. Remind me of the Mont Blanc family's chestnut hats. We know that the Vinsmokes are royals from the North Blue. Do you all think that they could be descended from the king who had Noland executed? Or are pointy hats just all the rage in the North Blue?
Oh. That's a good question.
It depends when they took over most of North Blue, because we don't really have a timeline here.
Although, Sanji did. Well, I mean, Sanji did mention that in the North Blue. That's a popular story, but it was Sanji in particular who mentioned that too. So I don't know. There could be some.
No, Bellamy and Zarkis talked about it too.
Right, but I feel like Sanji in particular did mention it, like himself, during Jaya.
Yeah, and then I think a following scene, Bellamy and Zarkis talked about it.
Yes, but I'm saying Sanji said it first, which
First is the worst.
you know, all right.
Sorry,
Let's continue.
What was the question?
Next question comes from Blackjack 5. For Steven, or just a question as to Viz policies in general. What is the policy on translating swears? He says he admits to having read scanlations before the official translations come out, and he's noticed that scanlations usually incorporate a lot more swearing, especially for characters like Sanji. I always trust your translations above all others, but are you required to tone down some of the language used, or are the scanlations just completely overdoing it? I want to let Steven,
Well, it's a bit of it's a bit of both. Part of it is that there aren't like one-to-one swears, generally speaking, from Japanese to English. I think maybe the one that you could probably say is the most like, you know, one to one. If you see it in this, it's the same in the other. Is kuso, which means shit, and it's used in many of the same ways, like as a curse. Like when something goes wrong, you go, ah, shit. So, but a lot of the other swearing is, it happens in different ways. You know, they don't swear the same ways, and they, you know, in terms of like showing rudeness, I guess it's done in different ways. And so, you know, if you start with that, just with the knowledge that, okay, it's not as simple as just, you know, drag and drop. You can't just like say, okay, well, this is here, so this is a swear. On top of that, you also just have like, okay, what seems right? You know, what are sort of entertainment standards in English for, you know, works of this sort of tone? You know, what sort of age group is this generally geared toward? And you know, I personally feel like One Piece generally is, you know, it's a PG-13 type of thing. You know, it's that wide ranging, you know, young kids can enjoy it, not too young, but you know, it's relatively family friendly. It's like a blockbuster movie. You know, it's like a Marvel movie or something like that. And you know, you don't see stuff like that because it's too colorful and it's too kind of you know, family friendly to have everyone go, oh, fuck this, fuck that, I'm gonna put a fucking bullet in your head. You know,
We do that on the podcast enough.
Yeah, we do that on the podcast, not in the manga itself.
Yeah, if you need those flourishes, listen, please.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so you know, there's kind of a general language level that we sort of tailor the thing for, and you know, I have my own personal sort of compass on where I feel most comfortable doing swears, and then you know, the editorial department themselves and their sort of company standards have their own, and you know, they're also mindful of things like, you know, content ratings on where their products are available and what sort of stuff can trip them up in terms of like how to get the product out there. It used to be back in the day that, you know, we had to be careful of selling them in Walmart because that was a huge place to sell them, and if it, you know, the content was objectionable in certain ways, that would you know, whoever bought that kind of stuff for Walmart stores to sell to the consumers there just wouldn't pick it up. And that's not as big of an issue now as maybe like App Store stuff, but you know, it's still a general practice that, okay, we have to be mindful of how we do stuff. So you know, basically there are a number of reasons why it doesn't have the same kind of swearing as scanlations. You know, I can't speak for what their thought process is. Personally, I don't think it needs swearing. You know, it just doesn't fit. It tries to make One Piece, you know, when you read it in English, from what we're used to in our entertainment and from stuff that is similar to One Piece, it seems like it's trying to be edgy. Where there isn't really edge by adding lots of swearing. So yeah, we sort of toe a line there, and that's basically the entirety of the topic of swearing when it comes to translating.
Yeah, I think crap and shit are like, and damn and hell are probably the ones used most often in One Piece, and most of them are said by Sanji. So
yeah, Sanji's favorite word is shit, if I remember.
Yeah, we don't get the shit. We get crap, which is
damn.
It's unfortunate because I definitely think that crap, you know, the difference between crap and shit is pretty wide. And so sometimes it just doesn't seem.
I'm not touching that.
It doesn't sit well.
Yeah.
Stick with
Doesn't always come out the same way.
Okay.
No.
Next question comes from Alexander.
I mean, the way you pronounce it, it's...
Next one comes from Alexander, who starts by ranting to Toei that, come on, do a filler arc between the two arcs, between Zoe and Dressrosa.
Oh,
you have one job. We've ranted about this a lot. So
be careful what you wish for. That's all I say.
And his question is, if One Piece characters were singers, what name or title would they give their albums, or what name would they give their song? He has a few examples if you want to see.
Yeah.
For example, Nami would name her album Tangerine. There'd be The Life of Kaido, Boa Hancock's Forever Your Girl, Moria's Thriller, Cavendish Up All Night, Sergeant Strawberry's Lonely Hearts Club Band, which I'm a big fan of. Everyone knows
He's
that.
no sergeant.
That's right. I know every sergeant in the world. So
yeah.
So they're pre-existing album titles then?
Yeah.
Smoke your
Oh.
weed every day.
That is appropriate. So that sounds like a no.
Doflamingos would be No Strings Attached.
Bye.
Hey
Yeah.
guys. Freaking I forgot her name. What was the harpy lady?
Monet.
Oh, Monet?
Stab
Through
through
the
the heart.
Corazon, My Heart Will Go On.
Actually, Stab Through Your Heart's not even a song. It's just a really crappy podcast title that we missed twice.
I've got one. Dalton's would be Steak or Salad because he's a bull in steak, but Steak or Salad's also another name of a One Piece podcast title. That is
Is that what the question was about?
no, but I was following Steve's Stab Through the Heart.
All right.
I don't know.
We-
I'm not a big music guy, so I'm not the right person to ask this.
Andrew also had a question asking the correct pronunciation of Germa 66, as we've been calling it. Is that the correct pronunciation? Should it be 6666?
It's Germa.
Germa.
6 no Gurma.
Grandma?
Gerber.
Grandma 66.
Grandma 66.
They all
What a
transform
young
them.
grandmother.
I mean, what do you think, Stephen? Like, what brought you to the Germa 66 conclusion? I think we've talked a little bit about this.
That's the comma, right? That's how it's pronounced, the comma.
Sorry, I was not listening to that question.
How would you pronounce?
I only heard Jill say Gurma.
How is 60 for Germa 66? How would you correctly? Why do you pronounce it the way you do? Guess would be the
Just because that's what I see when I see it in English. It's 66, but yeah, 66 is that's how they're going to be saying it when the anime gets there.
Oh, W6.
Yeah, 66.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh. Why didn't you correct us?
I think I did mention that when it came up, but
I don't know. I like Germa 66. He did mention it,
Yeah.
and Steve, then
The
you
thing
said I like the Star Wars reference too much.
Mhm.
yeah, I think also just the Route 66, like that number has kind of a certain lexicological background in our heads that we like to say that 66.
I prefer 66 if I had to choose.
W6.
Yeah.
I like that though. That's nice.
In Japanese,
Doesn't really
that
matter,
sounds
though, does
nice.
No, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
All right, so Ed, why don't we get into our favorite segment? It's time to
Peace the tweet. Yeah. All right.
So repeats the tweet round. All the points are doubled. Ed, what do we have?
First question comes from Baka Ichigo, and he was rewatching Water 7, and he had an idea. What if Frankie used the blueprints of Pluton and incorporated them into the Sunny? I think a lot of people have expressed that thought over the years.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure he memorized those blueprints.
I mean, it would be a kind of a weird thing to not be obsessed with if you're like a master shipwright, to be in the possession of the blueprints of the most powerful weapon ever designed, you know?
Yeah, he had them for years.
And he wouldn't have been able to resist.
I don't think you could, yeah.
Next question comes from Emil Nordpol. With Yonji and Reiju having the same techniques as Sanji, like they have the skywalk and they kick, do you see the siblings fighting with or against him?
Yes.
That's not a good answer. I hope that Reiju is the one woman he can fight. I really want to see that.
That'd be interesting.
I need to see the logic behind that.
Yeah, for sure.
Or maybe she's the reason that he doesn't like to kick women.
Or that.
Maybe.
That would be a
next
more
one.
acceptable reason. What is the
Next one comes from Munchie the Panda, who asks, so it looks like the Vinsmoke Sentai team is assembling. How many members do you think they'll actually have? And as a follow-up, do any of you have a favorite Sentai or Power Rangers series he always loved in Space and Time Force?
Unlike most people, I gave up pretty early. As a kid, I think once they started getting to like Zeo, I was like, yeah, I'm kind of checking out.
Oh, I watched it all through Zeo. I think I stopped at Turbo though.
I think into Zeo, I kind of just stopped caring.
And I know a lot of friends of mine who are into Kamen Rider, so I know a chunk about Kamen Rider. I was thinking about getting into Kamen Rider Gaim, which is the fruits, and I think I kind of wanted to get into Akiba Ranger too because I heard it's hilarious.
I don't know. I guess like Power Rangers, I really haven't seen much. I mean, I do love the Ginyu Force from Dragon Ball because they're a huge parody off of Sentai.
All right, so the next question comes from the Kaizoku Rufi. Do you think Sanchi covers up one of his eyes so people don't know he's a Vinsmoke? He had his hair like that when we first saw him with those chefs in his flashback.
I think if Sanji didn't want to be affiliated with him, he would have shaved off his eyebrows.
No, that's the most Oda answer though, is that he was doing that to hide his involvement and leaving the eyebrow right where everyone could actually see it.
Mm-hmm. All right, Winter Clown 19 asks, "Hi guys, do you think that Ace's grave is in Wano, and will Luffy visit?"
No.
When will Luffy visit?
Someone had contemplated this, I think.
I still don't see why it would be Wano, but
yeah.
Well, why would it be in Wano? Isn't Wano like closed off from the outside?
Right. And the only thing that he even said that he learned hat making from a person from Wano. I don't think he ever said he went there.
Yeah, you're right.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I've been to Chicago a bunch of times. I likes it. I like Chicago. It doesn't mean I have to be buried there.
It doesn't. What's next?
Winter Clown 19 also asks, if the Straw Hats lived in our world, what would their favorite movie and or movie genre be?
We kind of got this question already.
We get these questions a lot.
Yeah, last week. Unless anyone has dying, burning answers for it, I think. Yeah.
No, let's wait a few more months before we ask that question again. Miranda Williams asks, so if Yonji reacts to girls the same as Sanji does that mean Reiju has the same reaction when she sees boys? Well,
clearly not.
It's an entirely different inappropriate response. Although it was very appropriate here because she had saved Luffy's life.
She did, but she did have an inappropriate response too.
Yeah, she kind of skips formalities, doesn't she?
She enjoyed herself in a non-wholesome manner.
Treating her body like an amusement park.
Look at those Magumbos.
Oh my god. Okay, what's next?
Next question comes from Mo McDonald. On a scale of 1 to adventure, using Luffyisms, how excited are you for Sanji's siblings?
Adventure?
Very excited.
Mystery excited.
Excited and ready.
Yes, mystery excited. It's my excitement is a mystery. Next question comes from Itzara. How do you expect Yasop to react when he finds out Usopp is in Luffy's crew?
That's my boy.
Yeah. That's about it.
That's my boy, starring Adam Sandler and Andy Samberg.
Andy Samberg. What's next?
Next question comes from Dr. Valkyrie. If you had to cosplay one character from One Piece, who would you cosplay?
We've discussed this before, way back.
Yeah, dudes would be Mr. 6 or Sister 7. Right?
Oh, no, that's happened already.
Hundreds and hundreds of episodes.
Yeah.
Ago.
Any new characters you guys want to cosplay as?
So Greg saw a picture of me wearing aviators at some point last year, and he said that I would make a really good Mr. Pink or Senior Pink. I don't know how to take that.
How about we just pick a character for another person? So Greg picked you, Alex. So now you have to pick a cosplay. For
Steve,
somebody.
you and I could do a tag team cosplay as Abdullah and Jeet.
That's racist.
That is pretty racist.
I would. Let's see. Okay, I pick Zach from Zach,
What am I getting
Because-
picked for?
hold on, I'm giving you a character.
Oh god.
You would have to cosplay as Diamond Jozu.
Why?
Why not?
Because that makes no sense.
Does it have to?
Are we picking other people? Is that how that's working? We're doing
You have
Yes.
to tag
That's-
10 of
a
your
tag
friends,
team.
or you'll never.
Red Rover.
Ed, I think we've agreed you'd be a great Blackbeard, right?
Sure.
Yeah.
Blackbeard or
Jinbei.
Jinbei, really, yeah.
Yeah, you got the
Blue Man
the
Group.
You got the
suit,
chest
yeah.
hair and the what do you call it? The laugh.
Okay, that's too blue. That's like Tobias blue. You gotta go. You get more to like a powdered blue.
What's your tag team, Ed?
It's not the right phrase.
Ed, who are you choosing?
Oh, I already chose.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks for making me like. Thanks for like picking a
But
character.
I'm
where
the
I could-
ugly one.
Fine.
That's-
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I'm the one that's gonna offend somebody.
I think we both offend some people.
Oh my god.
So I guess it's my turn now. Who do we have left here? Steven.
Mhm.
Hoikel.
Hoikel.
With the, is that the one with the nose strip?
I think that's the one with the pig nose, right?
I don't remember. Michael and Hoikel.
No, I got to think here.
Well, fuck it. Just call him Hoikel.
I don't know. Steven should dress up as Ryuma.
You guys we're all
Even-
terrible at this.
Yeah. Please no.
I'm back. Sorry, guys.
All right. That's,
Thank God.
Wait, we didn't pick one for Jill.
oh yeah.
Well, Jill has cosplayed before.
Yeah,
What
sure.
question are we even
Yeah.
on?
Which
If you could cosplay one character, would you do?
If
Well, weird.
if it could be any character, it'd be Shirahoshi, but that's never gonna happen ever. So,
Not until they invent like a giantification ray for
yeah.
real life cosplay.
You mean a bigulation ray? A bigulator.
No, a Wumbo belt.
At first, I said a giant defecation
No.
ray. What?
I thought it was a
Jill-
rebigulator.
Jill can do Shirahoshi. You just have to wear a shark costume.
Ah.
A
Like,
shark
yeah,
Kigu?
Yeah.
Yes.
That's-
There we go. That's
That
the
is
plan.
true. Yeah.
I've seen it.
Yes, and then you have to get out of the suit.
I really wish we didn't program it to make this noise.
What's next, Ed?
Next question comes from Frank Fullmetal, who asks, "What role do you think Germa 66 will play at the Reverie? Do you still see them as an enemy of the Straw Hats after this chapter?"
Yes.
They definitely have different goals. They got what they want, and
I
they're
think
not gonna
they'll be.
let it go.
I think they'll be enemies in the way that Bonchan was an enemy in Mr. Two was an enemy during the Baroque work stuff. He was and he wasn't. You know.
Maybe it goes as follows: like, the parents are evil, the kids are all right.
Yeah, the kids are all right. What's next?
Our very own Chow asked if anyone is really hoping for the Straw Hats to do the docking against the Vinsmokes.
Yes.
That'd be lovely.
And
All right. No, that was that. I mean,
Okay.
he had some.
Okay.
That was it. Question comes from our very own Adil, who asks, for Steven, the bup 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 sound effect used for when Yunji was seen floating, is that the same as when Sanji uses Skywalk? Do we know?
Ooh, I honestly don't remember what the sound effect is that Sanji uses. Although, if I had to guess, just completely off the top of my head, I don't think it's the same. Because the thing is, like, I think I translated that as sort of like a puttering noise, like but because that's sort of what it comes across as. But if I had to guess, I would say Sanji's more like he's actually walking in the air, like he's sort of like the Rokushiki thing, where he's just like boom 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 boom. So I would guess that they're probably not the same.
All right. Trick the TM asks, are you disappointed they didn't name the brother Naruto?
We already have a ninja in this series.
There's more to come.
And we all know that Kaido is a big drinker, so One Rock 7 asks, as a kind gesture, what drink would each Straw Hat offer Kaido?
Luffy would offer him a fruit punch.
Get to the face.
Hawaiian punch.
Luffy's new move.
Capri
Nami
Sun.
would offer him an orange
It's funny
crush.
because him and the Hawaiian Punch mascot both wear straw hats.
Like, you know that.
The funny thing is, it's true. I always thought that was his hair.
Yeah, me too.
Oh, what? I was gonna say I thought he had this like weird red antler hair.
Okay,
I have to look this up.
okay. Steven's reaction. The first image that came in my head was like, you know, that Mr.
Island party
Krabs,
time to
that,
buy.
that Mr. Krabs meme that's going around where he's like, "Whoa!" That's exactly how I pictured
Yeah.
Steven.
Oh, yeah, I thought that was his hair too.
Yeah, I
Oh,
thought that was hair too. I'm gonna be honest.
oh.
That's a straw hat.
Are you okay, Steve?
I think we broke Steve again.
This is so stupid.
Another cup of coffee there, buddy.
Steve doesn't do well with coffee.
No, I just don't do well when we just
Life alert.
go so far off.
Ed, what's the
I'd
next
say,
question?
I was gonna say
go ahead.
Sanji would give him like a Moscow mule because that's what his kicks feel like.
Zoro would not give him anything. He'd be like, "No, it's mine."
Yeah,
I'm not
All
a
the
hero.
are for me.
I'm not gonna share.
water.
All right. Next one is from Ruina, our very own Allison, who asks, One Piece Podcast is now a dating sim, and you are all potential romantic interest of the main
Oh my
character.
God.
What type of characters are? Maybe we gotta hold off on until next week when Aaron's hosting.
Well,
Yeah, I can't
Oh,
answer
man.
that question.
I
If
Yeah,
I was
ask
a dating sim
Aaron.
character, which one would I be? I'd be the crippled one, like on the 4chan one. You remember that? Like that the
No,
No.
4chan had their own dating sim that you could download apparently, and it's like
I almost thought you were describing the Burger King Kids Club.
it kind of is like that, except they're all in wheelchairs.
What?
I'm serious.
No,
look it
Allie,
up.
which pigeons would we be? That's the real question for you.
Oh right, Hato full boyfriend, right?
stupid ass
plan.
pigeons. That's a long
That's from New
story.
York.
Yeah, it's...
Yeah, no, Zach's getting some nom flashbacks to his old apartment.
You probably could hear some pigeons if you listen to any episode from 2012.
If you don't remember the name of Zach's old apartment, it was the ones with the pigeons having sex. That's excellent.
And
By the-
also technically a basement.
Good reason to subscribe
And the
on
sink that would make a gurgling sound.
good reason to subscribe on Patreon. You could hear my sink and pigeons having sex if you listen to any episodes from 2011 or 2012. Please enjoy that.
How many
That's
times
actually
per
the end
episode?
of the tweet this week. So let's move on.
Yeah. What, Alex?
How many times per episode can you hear the pigeons having sex?
Well, I usually cut it out, but once in a while, it just can't be cut out because I was, talking over the pigeons having sex. So I don't know how many times.
Well, that's good then, because I feel like that's like a little bonus to people who are listening. They get a little.
I think it's worth the price of admission. Certainly, I think you'll be like, it'll give some people the drive to count the amount of times they hear pigeons having sex in the background. By the
That
way,
is gonna get us some Patreon subscribers there.
this is what it sounds like.
It's like a giraffe dying.
Yes, exactly. Steven, we have some Reddit questions if you'd like to.
Yes,
for that.
as usual, we have tons of Reddit, and so sadly, I am forced. Zach, how could you make me do this?
I had
I'm gonna
to.
lay the blame on at your feet.
I'll take it.
Yeah, we're cutting this down to just a couple questions. So we'll start off with Aaron Swan. Aaron has some suitors here. Who wants to raise the possibility of, float this out there, the idea that Gin might come back into this part of the story as the perfect opportunity, perhaps as Sanji's guy on the inside who eventually helps him escape the Vin smokes.
It's his best man.
There we go.
This is turning into an Owen Wilson movie quick.
I like that. Yeah, maybe if he gave up and just said, "All right, well, fine, I want Gin."
Geen does kind of look like a combination of Luke and Owen Wilson.
Yeah.
Hey everybody,
Yeah.
it's me, Ken Wilson. I'm not quite Owen and I'm not quite Luke. I'm basically
Yeah.
like Luke. I'm like Owen Wilson, but my nose isn't really fucked up.
Yes. Well, basically, the gist of it comes down to that, Gin would use the same sort of the same personal skills that he did to work his way in with Krieg to get in with the Vin Smokes as well, and could possibly help Sanji get out of it.
It'd be really funny if just Geen never came back. Like Oda
No.
forgot about him.
Yeah,
Like Geen is Oda's lunch to Dragon
or
Ball.
a Tao Pai Pai.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I really like the way you drew Geen in this panel. Who the hell is Geen?
He just introduces a new character named Geen, and everyone asks what happened to the old one. He's forgotten.
I remember when back when we were week to week on Duval, people were like, "Oh, I bet it's Krieg or I bet it's Geen."
Oh God.
Yeah, Geen got really super buff.
So our next comment is from Og Opf An 1.
Good job. Could have done it
yeah.
better myself. Really could
Wow,
not
we
have.
Do not try.
Ba weep grana weep ninny bong.
Og up
Ah.
on one.
Aramu wants to know. So many people have been talking about Reiju and the possibility of a butterfly/moth zoan fruit, but I haven't seen anyone talk a whole lot about Yonji. I have a feeling Yonji will be using the technology, since it was stated that obviously, yes, the Vin Smokes a technologically advanced organization instead of a possible devil fruit, because his nickname is, or his code name is Winch Green, and a winch is a type of rope crank/pulley, which leads me to believe his abilities have something to do with gears and such. He is also the only one that we see, at least in this chapter, use that technology. Although Reiju does too. And I personally think the scene where Reiju kicks him into the sea is Oda's way of showing that he doesn't have a fruit. So it's basically like, is this, I don't know, do you suppose this is something sort of along the lines of, say, Polly, which, his deal was ropes. Does he have some sort of preternatural skill with his namesake?
I would
Yeah.
say yes.
I like that.
Like I said, he turns into a tow truck. He turns into Larry the Cable Guy's character from Cars.
Oh Jesus Christ!
Jesus.
Oh boy.
Enough.
It fits with
Mater?
it kind of fits with the exaggerated voice we're doing, although it's a different.
I almost thought you were going with somewhere great, like, oh, hey, maybe he's like a Decepticon, but no.
That's something great.
What's next?
Kuro is Green Bull is just wants to know if anyone here has heard of or watched the show Steven Universe, given that it seems to have a lot of character interactions and world building that reminded them of One Piece. I've been meaning to watch it since I hear
It's
there's a lot of
fantastic.
people who like it.
I highly recommend it. I'm a fan.
really
Rebecca Sugar, the creator of the show, is a fan of One Piece herself. Back when the show was still in its first season, she drew sketches of the principal cast as Straw Hat characters.
Oh,
Mhm.
really? I'll have to look
Yeah.
at that.
It's on Tumblr. I think if you just look up Steven Universe and One Piece, well,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Cool. So next is from Gentleman Bastard, who mentions he has a brief aside that he appreciates the or supports, I guess, our decision about the leaks, the change in our policy, the aforementioned policy change, and wanted to know. He has a couple questions. I'm going to pick one here. What are your thoughts on Jammer's recent article, which was about kind of is One Piece losing its heart, I guess. Basically he was talking about how the series does not touch him emotionally in the way that it used to, and that article I would highly recommend. I thought it was an interesting article. Look that up on the site. And he, Gentleman Bastard, personally disagreed with it, but understands his concerns and wants to know what our take is on it.
You
Well,
brought up some good points.
I don't think it's lost its heart completely, but we're sort of getting close to the end game, so I think plot elements are going to rear their head a lot more than really profound emotional elements, especially since at this point in the game we've been introduced to the crew.
Right.
So, any sort of tearjerker that you're going to get is probably going to come from, less significant characters. I guess Kyros and Rebecca is something that could be considered along those lines, although it didn't personally affect me at all.
Attempted.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I think it's because the characters that lately he's delving into characters that we haven't spent enough time with. Although I am given pause a little bit because I thought that the Corazon story was really, really good. But because I don't care about law, I guess I didn't get that end of it either. So I don't know. It's a fine line.
I definitely got teary-eyed with the Corazon flashback. I think that's like the last time I could recall that kind of emotional response. I definitely have an emotional response to One Piece. I mean, you could listen to this podcast. I think that still exists for me. I don't think a sad or response is necessarily what you need to have, but I think the Zoark had some amazing elements in it. If you asked me this question at the end of Dressrosa, or if I read Jammer's article at the end of Dressrosa, I would have been like, "Yep," just very succinctly. But I think he's been improving a lot.
Part of it too is just that age and how much time you have spent with the series, because eventually some of it you sort of grow out of, or it hits you in a different way than it did.
Or you have
when
nostalgia.
You were younger.
You have nostalgia
Right.
for certain things that when you
Right.
first started the series versus now. Jill, what were you gonna say?
Yeah, it's just I'm a person who gets really emotional reading One Piece. It's just the way I am. But it is slightly different. You can tell right after the time skip. It's because all of the we're not saving Robin. We're not breaking down. We're not breaking down Arling Park. We're not getting Rook Shadow back. It's a very different kind of heartwarming stories that we'll get. It's not, although it is now changing with us back with Sanji. So I think it's just like you said, it's more little moments of the Straw Hats. Because I loved Usopp at Dressrosa getting his hockey and talking about how Luffy was the reason he's out to sea, and then Nami with the kids and in Punk Hazard, that was fantastic. And I personally enjoy a lot of Fishman Island stuff. So I think we're getting more and more little bits that expand on the Straw Hat characters, even though they're very much established now, and now we're moving on to these other bigger world characters.
Well, and also they're adding elements especially in Zoe, and the promise of Wano with the family that's involved and the characters who are already involved. I'm invested in those characters emotionally as well.
I have an unpopular opinion, which I guess Jill will agree with. Upon reading it again for the read-through, I think the Fisher Tiger Koala story particularly is really emotionally impactful, and I'm a big fan of that. I think the
That's an unpopular opinion?
I don't know if that's an unpopular. It's Fishman Island, so I assume it's all unpopular.
I don't know. I think that's the best part of the. Well,
Yeah,
I have issues. I have issues with how that flashback is executed, but that's just me.
I like the first half.
It's not just you.
Yeah, I think
really
the first half.
Fishman Island flashback.
I think we're used to it.
I actually think the whole flashback's pretty good. I think there are definitely some execution issues there, but I think it does what it needs to do.
I think we're so conditioned now to One Piece, and I guess there is a bit of a formula, but I think it's one of the reasons why we enjoy it. We want to see a flashback. I remember I was like, I can't wait for Law's flashback. You weren't. He was, then we're gonna flashback, same old shit. I was like, no, now's the time when we get the flashback. I want to see it. No, it didn't affect me the same way some other flashbacks have, but I thought it was still good. Still made some pretty good discussions. Still made some pretty good podcast episodes. One Piece is just a long series,
And we've also podcast about it every week, which sucks
Yeah.
out our energy from it a little bit.
Yep. Like Reiju sucking poison out of Luffy.
Suck.
Suck.
What's the
She's
next
going
question,
from
Steven?
suck to blow.
You think
She was about to go once.
Luffy's just gonna tell his Sanji, "Wow, your sister really sucks well."
Steven?
What did you say about my sister?
Next. Yeah, actually, speaking of her, this is another question from Gentleman Bastard, and I want to bring it up briefly, which is that we saw Sanji's sister seem benevolent towards the Straw Hats. So do you think it's possible that she may help them overthrow her father so that she can take over Germa 66? I wanted to point out that, like, I was not confused, but I found it interesting that, you know, just kind of her general mannerism. Like, she seemed very kind of serene about everything, and it was hard to tell. You know, like when Luffy made his declaration, because, you know, the way that she was smiling, it could be taken as sort of a positive thing, like she's sort of weighing Luffy's dedication toward her brother, or it could just be like, you know, she seems to be smiling in pretty much every panel that we see her. So it could be that she is, you know, taking it kind of the same way that Yonji did, which is like, oh, actually, this guy could be more trouble than I'm realizing. And, you know, she's, you know, she just happens to have a default smile on. So that I thought was kind of interesting. But yeah, it does seem like she could be a more sympathetic figure than Germa as a whole.
Regarding that one panel, I thought it was really interesting that Oda, he did actually have a thought bubble for her, where it's nothing, it's just ... and he could have just had her smiling, and we would kind of almost, but with the thought bubble, it gives a much different feeling, where you can tell she's really assessing. And I think it's like, I like this theory that she's going to overthrow her father, and I like the further theory that's because, like, oh, she's a girl, so she's not in the line. But on the other hand, I don't, like you guys have talked before, I don't think we're going to have a big drawn out fight with Big Mom. I think because, like, of all the connections, she'll end up being more of an ally, or at least neutral. I really want a good female villain. So I really hope that Reiju, like, turns on them, or is just, like, really against them after a point, because that'd just be more fun.
I don't know. But then why suck the poison out of Luffy in the first place?
She's
That's
hungry.
Oh, it's a treat. It's like her favorite.
Oh, yeah.
She's playing
It's
them.
my favorite.
She was probably raised to, if she's raised an assassin, if you're a beautiful woman, it's pretty much assumed in these kinds of genres that you're probably, like, some kind of a seductress, or you've got at least, like, like psychological things down on people. She's definitely trying to get into their good graces at least a bit.
I don't know.
That's true.
I think it's too early to really figure that out.
Also true.
Yeah.
So we'll move on to Unlimited Taco, who wants to know,
Oh, that sounds awesome.
has a suggestion on this topic of Sanji's eyebrows. Now that we have seen that the rest of his family's eyebrows all seem to go to the right, at least if the pattern holds, whereas Sanji's eyebrows go to the left. Do you think that means that as a young rebel, Sanji said, "Oh, I'll show them," and he curled his eyebrows the other way to get back at his family?
You know how we feel about reading too much into hair on this show. So
Yes. On that topic, also, how does Yonji's hair stay so pointy with his hood on?
That's
Hockey.
an SBS question. Hockey.
Gel, man. Use his
Hockey.
product.
He uses Elmer's glue.
Maybe he's Florenthin. Maybe it's Germa 66.
Next is from Zephyrus7, who says, one of us mentioned Kaido has the can't die fruit, but obviously he just has the bandage fruit. Every time he's in mortal danger, bandages cover his entire body and heal him. Anyways, the question is, how did you guys meet? Sorry if you've said this before or it's too personal, but I thought it was worth asking.
It's so personal.
Backstories.
Flashback.
Should I start first?
Zach-
Since yeah.
I mean, Zach.
Oh, hi Ed. I'm your new
Hi.
roommate in college.
That's right.
This is
Wow, did you
our.
guys actually-
2000 year is 2005.
This
Wow,
is.
you guys talked really weird back then.
Hey, did you hear about this new show, The Colbert Report, starting this year?
That's right. That's what happened.
I bet you it'll just be the best.
Wow.
And it was, folks.
And then the boys, the other roommate, Skeeter Valentine, came in.
Skeeter!
Hey, let's go to the Hockerburger.
Get out of
Hey,
here,
what-
Skeeter.
What the fuck are you dipshits doing?
Roger.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to throw this mug at the wall. I was laughing so.
And then I met Steve through the podcast.
Everyone else, really.
Fire Crouch introduced us to Steve through
Went
a
through
Long Park. Yeah.
We had Dude on with Jason for that Arlong Park episode.
Yeah, Dude was one of the early administrators for Arlong Park. Is that a correct description?
That's right. I was one of the head guys, and I helped create the forums, which nobody gives me credit for. But you know what? That's fine.
I'll give you
Okay,
credit.
I
too.
mean,
I
look
don't
at all,
care.
dude.
It's a cesspool now. A cesspool.
look at all the credit. Look at all good that credit did for people.
Oh, I guess that's true.
And we met Steven through Greg.
Mhm.
Super highly recommended. It's like, Steven is the best. You gotta have him on. And we talked a lot about it during the Steven cast. You had been going through.
I just say we knew about Greg because I read his website back in the 90s.
Also true.
Just
Um,
old.
I like saying it that way just to make myself sound really old.
and
I was about to say, Jesus.
and we met Jill because she listened to us.
Woohoo. One day I sent an email and was like, "What's up?"
That's been said, and I'm like, you're on.
It's a girl. So that was our response to it.
Yes, that was our response. Capital A. It's a girl. We'll go through the others, I guess, when we have a different crew on.
Yeah, we've told stories before. What episode? I don't know.
We'll have more. We'll have more flashbacks in the future.
Subscribe to our Patreon and you can relive the history.
You
The
certainly
magic.
can.
The
You
magic.
could call it that.
Relive the magic for the first time anytime.
Before it goes back in the Majin.
Before it goes
Diamond
back to the
edition.
One Piece podcast vault.
For the first time in 60 years.
Get $5 in Majin Media bucks.
It's the only way you'll be able to get the DuckTales Treasure of the Lost Lamp movie.
We actually got the rights to that, folks.
We did.
And One Piece Podcast 2, Zach's Pride.
That's a Lion King 2 reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is.
boy.
Yeah.
And Steve
One
Yurko.
Piece Podcast. An
One Piece
extremely-
Podcast, The Return of Steve Yurko. As he plots his.
Extremely goofy podcast.
A goopy movie? we already did that. Extremely goopy movie.
I think
Blue Warp.
we're losing it. We should probably get to the
Alright.
next question.
Oh, man.
And speaking of losing it, we'll move on to Dirkolini, who says, commemorating your 420th episode, I want to shed some light on weed theories and other weed inquiries regarding One Piece.
What?
Oh, boy.
What?
First of all, we have Vice Admiral Yamakaji, who not only smokes, but by the look on his face, it's apparent that he's not smoking regular tobacco, but the wackiest of tobacco in his blunt. Not only that, but his name translates to forest fire, and to top it all off, he was introduced in chapter 420. I
What?
don't know if that's actually true or not, but I
I'm
want to
looking
believe
this
it.
up.
Also,
yeah.
It's pretty clear to see that Sengoku has been hitting the pipe recently. Not only did he age really poorly over the past 2 years, but we see him with weed leaves on his shorts. He's munching crackers like crazy, and he's trying to train a pet gorilla.
No, and then he's ordering people around to bring him more food.
By the
Because
way,
he's jealous of Fuchitora's food.
Why
Yama-
did he stop dyeing his hair, too? Those are maple leaves. Get your mind out of the gutter, man. Everybody knows that the one who really smokes weed is Doflamingo.
no, Yamakaji was introduced on chapter
he's always wearing
420.
those
Guys,
sunglasses.
Kizaru.
No, it's Usopp. Remember, he has the 420 blazed attack.
It's called
That's
blast
true.
grass.
The shuriken.
Definitely eats an edible during Fishman Island.
Yamakaji was introduced during 420, and looking at a picture of him, he is blazed out of his mind. I mean,
So
well put.
he finishes. Thanks for 420 episodes, and here's to at least 420 more.
840.
All right.
Yeah, that's
840.
we'll be there in a while.
Double weed.
I bet the last case that Yamakaze finished was a case of Malamars.
Next we have who is a bit confused about the Vin Smokes. How can they change a wanted poster? I understand they are indeed royals, but they are portrayed by the government as evil, at least in the propaganda, and want to team up with Big Mom. How do they have this power, or is it yet to be determined? P.S. I love Poison Pink.
I think it was explained in the chapter. They took a kingdom by force. They ruled the North Blue. They have the power to join the referee. This is the kind of things you get to do when you're royalty, and the government needs
Royalty
you.
over no one.
Yeah,
but it seems well. I guess I wonder if does that mean they sort of is this sort of similar to like a privateer thing where they kind of embrace the infamy in order to help the world government sort of sell their propaganda.
The way I see it is it's as if I think it's what we said earlier. If the Nefertaris, or even if Doflamingo weren't Doflamingo, I feel like he'd be Germa. He would just, if he never went after getting his own kingdom, or his old kingdom back, he would be, in the same position as Germa.
Well, no, they got disavowed.
It's a different situation. I'm trying to draw as analogous example as I can.
It's like, yeah, it stopped making sense when I started saying.
No, it works perfectly, Jill. Don't think about it.
Zach, please.
All right. Next is Tremirlan, who points out the Vin Smokes seemingly have a way to travel the Calm Belt. I guess he's referring to the shoes, maybe. The Navy have their own way, and even the Haposui have their own, since the Kano Kingdom is in the West Blue.
Isn't it a snail? I mean, I was under the impression that it was stuff built on a snail that was actually a swimming snail. Maybe that's how they get through the Calm Belt.
Oh, yeah. He could be referring to that. Are we in a situation where crossing the Calm Belt is no big deal anymore? What do you think about that? And does that raise the possibility of them actually going outside of the Grand Line for future arcs?
I mean, well, we've only heard about it. We haven't seen it.
Right. Well, they crossed the Red Line. What do you call them? The Germa 66. We don't know if they've crossed the Calm Belt, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I think that's where his leap of logic is going there. It's possible they did.
It's also just kind of like, I guess, a story like planned obsolescence. It's things like story obstacles, I guess, that are introduced at first. Like the longer the story goes, the less novelty they have, and therefore the more likely it is that the author will devise some way to get over that, even in ways that kind of make the stuff in retrospect seem a little weird. It's just because, like, hey, who wants to keep hearing about the Calm Belt for 30 more arcs of the story?
I mean, I'm pretty sure the Calm Belt's still a big deal for most people. I mean, Amazon Lily is protected because of it. You don't see just like pirates crossing over all the time. So it's probably still a big thing. It's just we're meeting all these big characters that have technology that can kind of just fuck it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So next, this is a follow up to Dunkalini Starfell. In order of episode 420, if the Straw Hats smoked pot, what strain would they enjoy the most?
This is beyond me. Yeah.
Strains?
Well,
I mean,
so does it
like
Usopp
Usopp likes God's gift.
I was going to say Usopp has the Skull Blast grass, since that was the image that we went with.
Yeah.
Marijuana.
Zoro 100% is into indicas.
Why is that?
Because he loves sleeping.
That's okay.
An indica puts you into couch. That's how you remember. I clearly know way too much about this. Nobody else is trying.
Yeah.
I would say that probably to go off of our game night the other night, Chopper would like vape weed with some sort of cherry cheesecake flavor.
Oh my god! Or he'd be in any strain that was called cotton candy.
There you go. Yeah,
Cotton candy Kush or something.
I hate those people.
I'm sure that's a thing.
Oh man!
Can you imagine a strange
Zach,
place called Vape Smoke?
Yeah, I am.
Vape smoke.
We've done that already.
Yeah, we have done that
Smoke
one.
every day.
What would I feel like Brooks would just be called. Brooks would be called like 6 Feet Under or something.
That sounds about right.
Oh
Nami's would be trying to tangerine green grass.
Tangerine Dream.
Tangerine green.
Yeah.
Okay, I should have stuck with my
green
original.
tangerine.
All right,
This is awful. Have we spent enough time on this?
Yeah,
let's just go to leafly.com and then we'll just figure it out.
All right. And the Dr. Monkey wants to know, now that we've met the Power Ranger, the Germa Rangers, how much do you want to bet that if Sanji never left, he would have been Fire Red? Do you think the Vinsmokes have Devil Fruit powers or other powers we don't know yet, which might explain why Sanji has this fire connection?
If Sanji's Fire Red, does that mean Yonji is Leaf Green?
Yes.
Thank you.
Can he be Fire Yellow?
No, because the Pokemon joke doesn't work.
I don't need the Pokemon joke. I'm going to be honest.
I still think it's more likely that it's Black Leg, isn't it? I still like that idea.
But he wouldn't have learned to kick like Zeph if he hadn't met Zeph.
Maybe Sanji's dad was like, no one gets to be black, like Reservoir Dogs. Black is too cool. No one can be black.
Sanji's dad is black.
Why is the top of his head black?
No, the top of his head is African American.
Oh man.
What's next, Steven?
All right. Well, we'll just round this out with a little bonus question. I don't know if you have an answer for this, Zach, but Hydra Kalito was wondering, what does the T-shirt for Patreon supporters look like?
Have
we determined that yet?
Yeah, I'll talk about the T-shirts a little bit. First off, we're gonna be selling T-shirts to all, everyone who wants them at some point in the future. We were still working out a lot of the details there, and we'll probably be reselling a different version of the old one with the old logo, since that's been very popular. The new one's gonna have the new logo on it. We don't have exact details yet, but Jammer's helping to put it together. It should be with better material than the old one. It should look nicer. And it should be of higher quality in general. I don't know which version of the new logo we're using yet. We've done some mock-ups of the mug, and it looks really cool with the new logo. And the decals are probably going to have... probably going to be pretty simple. You're going to see it when we premiere our new logo in the next week or two, probably in 2 weeks, along with a lot of other really cool stuff. But I'll leave that there. That's it for Piece Together. Why don't we head into our final, what the hell is it called? The
Countdown?
The Slopsticle course.
Physical challenge.
Time for the physical challenge.
The Slopsticle.
I'm gonna be real. I don't even know what you guys are talking about.
I Wikipedia.
There.
This has been, it's been episode 420 of the One Piece podcast for May 23rd,
Come up
2016.
a couple of times.
Yeah, it has. Next week, unfortunately, it's really our 7th anniversary, but myself and Steve will not be able to make it on due to real commitments that we can't break. So we'll probably be celebrating in earnest the following week, the first week in June, for episode 422. We'll probably go a little crazy celebrating our 7th anniversary. So look forward to that.
I'm looking forward to Ernest. Yeah, I'm looking forward to Ernest Comes to Podcast.
Ernest saves the One Piece podcast.
Next week, I think we're going to have Ed and Aaron hosting our show, so I'm really excited for that.
That is accurate.
That is accurate. So look forward to that next week. That's on Memorial Day, May 30th. I also want to remind people, please check out our Patreon. $1, $3 especially gets you a lot of cool stuff now. So any amount that you could donate each month, we we'll continue to put as awesome stuff as we possibly can to that. That's patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. You can check out all the rewards again, as well as some goals we have. Including the goal not only to stay afloat, which we have thankfully passed at this point, but to also pay our contributors. We have a goal for that. And the reach goal, I guess you'd call it, for OPP Japan 2, we would really need a lot of you to join on for probably 6 or 7 months to make that a reality. So in the off chance that could happen, that would be awesome. I mean, obviously, the 20th anniversary of One Piece is coming up, so we'd love to do something like that. So you can check that all out again at patreon.com/One Piece Podcast. You can, of course, check out the latest news, editorials, and more on our website. And keep an eye out for news about MatsuriCon over the next few weeks and other conventions that we will be attending this year. So all of that on the website, onepiecepodcast.com. That's it for me. Jill, where could people find you?
You can find me on Skype, Tumblr, and Twitter as Piratess Unluck. You can also find me at Anime Expo coming up beginning of July, which means I need to start working on my cosplays. I just, a couple weeks ago, put up a new editorial up about my own year of cosplay in One Piece fandom. So if you could check that out, that'd be great.
Yeah,
You passed the background check?
Oh God.
Oh no, that might be an issue.
I still gotta do that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to work with panels. I mean, hopefully, because we're not going to find out whether we get accepted until a couple weeks before.
And what was your panel about again?
Pirates? You mean criminals?
It's about hentai. The best hentai for cute magical girl.
I had no idea Kylo Ren was having a hentai panel at Anime Expo, but
There are no drug references at all.
we did not just answer a question about marijuana strains for the One Piece podcast, for the One Piece crew, not the One Piece podcast crew.
Oh shit, we weren't supposed to answer that, huh?
Dude,
Definitely shouldn't have said that was illegal.
Delete it.
Oh crap! I had to. Yeah.
It's too.
Dude, where can people find you?
They can find me at Dude Exclamation on Tumblr, Twitter, Instagram, and Vine, and my website, alexkazanos.com. And check out the new podcast I'm doing with Joey from this very podcast. It's called Toho Yaro, and it's about Japanese film. We currently have we have an episode 0 that's currently out on SoundCloud right now. It's basically us giving a introduction to who we are and what the podcast is going to be about, and our history with Japanese film. And our first episode, where we will be covering the 1954 Godzilla, will be released June 1st. And you can look forward to a new episode, the first of the month, every month.
Yeah, thank you. So June is probably when the next one's coming out, right?
That's right, June 1st.
June 1st, okay. Thank you. Steven, where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at Translatosaurus.
Easy enough. Steve, where can people find you?
Find me on all social media like Twitter, Instagram, Tumblr, and so forth. Steve Yurko, all one word. I'm going to be at Fanime this coming weekend in San Jose, California. I'll be in Artist Alley. My booth number is 1405. Come see me. I know some people have already been telling me they're going to come find me. Please do. Please come say hello. If you're a podcast listener, please mention that. A lot of people don't say where they know me from, and then later they'll hit me up on Twitter. I'm like, oh, just say that then and there, so I could tell you thank you for listening to our show or just following me in general. And then the following week, I will be at A-Kon in Dallas, Texas. So
Nice.
any of you listeners going to that?
A con, not just a con.
Or maybe
Which con?
Akon the musical artist.
Yeah, I'm gonna be at the A-Kon concert in Dallas, Texas. I am not familiar with any of his music, but I will be there. Come find me in the stands, and let's have a conversation. And someone would be like, "Shut up! I can't hear A-Kon."
Stop talking about anime.
Nobody has ever said that at an Akon concert.
Cool, Steve. Glad you're making the rounds at cons. And as we said at the top, Ed, Dude, Steve, Jill, maybe, and myself will be, along with Sam, probably, and maybe others as well, will be at MatsuriCon. I want to get us.
Also, mention AX. I'll also be at AX too. I will be in Artist Alley if my background check clears up.
Oh, and Allie, I think, too, will probably be at AX.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you'll see a lot of One Piece podcast people. Steven, will you be there this year? Do you know?
If we have a panel, sure.
Okay. Yeah, I'll let you know.
I'll try to, if I pass the background check as well.
After this episode. Ed, where can the good people out there find us?
Well, Zach, you're Zach_Logan on Twitter. I am Edward E. Fastizio. The podcast can be found at OnePiecePodcast.com, Twitter.com, YouTube.com, and Facebook.com/OnePiecePodcast. One Piece Podcast is our Skype name. OnePiecePodcast@gmail.com is our email address. OnePiecePodcast.tumblr.com for news updates and funny pictures. Reddit.com/r/OnePiecePodcast. Leave us some piece together there. You can subscribe on SoundCloud. You can subscribe on Google Play. You can subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes, or call us on our phone number. Zach?
That phone number is 347-497-MAJI.
Maji.
That phone number again is 347-497-6254. Call anytime. With your questions, your comments, your theories. Again, we will be off. Well, we're going to be off. Steve and I are not going to be here. So really, I mean, no, we're going to have Ed and Aaron hosting. I'm really excited to listen to that episode while I'm road tripping. So I'm definitely going to get to listen to that one. And Steve and I will be back the following week. We're going to have some really cool surprises for then. So please stay tuned. But for the One Piece podcast, my name is Zach.
My name is Ed.
And my name is Steve.
We'll see you next week, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.
Goodbye.
See you next time on Family Double Dare.
420, smoke weed every day, blaze it.
Marijuana.